This was the Derek and Dax show.
And I know that I'll love you forever.
Okay.
All right, hello and welcome back. It's been a minute. We've had issues with computer programming, but we are here with Three-Person Circle. 4 people in the circle, as it seems to always be. Our special guest today is Jack Kelsch. Jack, welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
So I think the best way to start off with this is just kind of get into this whole thing. Dax, you don't really know anything about Jack in terms of his profession or anything like that.
No, I'm going to ask him just deep probing,
piercing
questions.
But since you don't know anything, they're just like very generic. Like, what are your feelings on this? Okay, so Jack, I feel like if you were to look at you today, you are obviously a plumber.
Yeah.
You play on our soccer team. You came from being a chef. You also had a background in wrestling. Most importantly, you're a Liverpool supporter.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like, and then to the underlying to all that, like I said, I mentioned this yesterday, is you actually are extremely comedically funny, not just in the literal sit around sense, but you know how to write comedy. Which I've been very impressed with.
Thanks, man.
Let's just start with, I guess, you as a plumber at the moment. Like, we wanted to just kind of talk about that a bit.
Yeah. So I'm working as a service plumber,
okay.
Which I really like because it's a bit more interesting than just going onto a job site and like slamming pipe in all day, as they say, which is a good job in itself. But like, I do feel like there's a lot more. I have more interesting stories from like the things I find and the people I meet and run into.
Okay.
Question: what's the difference between a service plumber and a plumber who like lays pipe?
That was my question too.
Okay, so like, yeah, that's a good question. Basically, what it would be is like a construction plumber. Let's say they're building a tower for residential. They would be on that job for 1 to 2 years, and they'd build it floor by floor. From the drainage to the water pipe to the heating, and they'd be on that project, and they'd be building a brand new building.
Okay.
Whereas a service plumber, I'm going into existing buildings, and they're like, oh, like my boiler doesn't work, a pump doesn't work.
Right.
So I'm not doing anything new. I might like reno something, but for the most part, I'm fixing issues.
What's the difference between like that type of plumber and a plumber that, my toilet doesn't work or my sink is leaking?
Well, because when you're in service, like you could do like house calls where you're doing, and that's what I used to do. So like a lot of like, sinks, showers, toilets, drainage stuff. And then you can get into the heavier stuff, which is like, the boilers, the pumps, working on like, plants that have really big, machinery that have a lot of moving parts.
So it must be cool though, because like, say you're doing, what was the commercial side of it, or like the commercial?
Yeah.
Construction plumbing.
With all of that, you kind of do the same thing over and over again in essence, don't you? Like if you're inside big towers, I'd imagine every big tower in essence has the same inside you're putting it in, whereas you show up at like things that have been made and you have to like problem solve and shift around like these unique situations of what is a house.
Yeah, I think there's like good aspects to both jobs, like being able to go to work as a construction plumber and finish at the same time every day and kind of know what you're doing, follow the plans, keep it simple, is really low stress. But then it could get boring. Yeah. Whereas for me, I find it really interesting. Like sometimes I'll show up somewhere and it's literally like, hey, like this is going on and we don't know why, and I've never been there before. I've never seen this equipment before, and I just have to figure it out. And I have to think a lot of times, okay, well, how's it supposed to work? And then, okay, what are the steps for it to work? And I find out which one of those steps isn't acting. And then I find out, okay, well, now why isn't that step acting? So it's like very much like a rewarding job when you fix something, and it can also be really stressful when you can't. And then people are relying on you because they don't have hot water or they don't heat or something.
Okay, well, this is I'm going to ask you I have a question about this later, but we have to get more like into your other career as well.
Yeah.
But what I thought was so interesting, dude. So one of my best friends, Connor, is a plumber, right? So
Yeah.
I've grown, like as an adult, been around a plumber a lot. So I don't want to say like, oh, I know a lot about plumbing, but like I have a better, and then I mean between you and Roger too, I have a better perspective on what a plumber does than most, just solely by being friends with you, right? And I think one of the craziest things, and it showed up over COVID, was I would never have picked pre-COVID a plumber being an essential service. But as soon as you guys got put as an essential service, like it's so obviously, right? Like obviously a plumber is. And it's just so weird, the perception of what a plumber is versus how important a plumber actually is.
Well, they made a literal South Park episode about it. I don't know if you watched it.
I've not seen this.
Where you've seen this for sure.
Yeah.
Where basically COVID happens, or pseudo COVID happens, and everybody that's in like high paying jobs, like doctors, lawyers, don't know how to do basic things like plumbing and like fixing a socket and whatever. Yeah. And so all the richest people in the world all of a sudden are like plumbers.
Yeah.
Like it's an amazing episode.
It's so good. The like, plumbers like they roll up in like Gucci suits.
So like they're like in the corner. You know how like they have the trope in South Park where I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they have the guys like in front of a Home Depot looking for a job.
Yeah.
But now it's like all of the doctors looking for like plumbers and like, electricians.
Well, that's a weird thing. Going to STA, it was highly academic school, so like everything was so geared towards becoming like a doctor, a lawyer, a physio, like all these things like that. And I literally am like so far from even close to being like considered for those fields. Yeah. And I just wish that when we were growing up, at least in my life, the perception of doing a trade was not a thing. Like, it wasn't like, not literally not a thing. It's like, it's just like, how are you going to make a living doing a trade?
Well, you know
and now
what,
I'm
though?
like, yo, that's like one of the best ways to make a living.
We just went to the wrong school.
Well,
like,
that's what it is.
If you had landed in like Carson or Argyle or so, where they had so many things offered, because our school did pump out those things, like doctors. We had so many doctors in our grade.
My fiance Ola is a doctor.
There you go. Yeah, but our grade alone, we had like 6 doctors and like 3 surgeons.
Yeah, it's interesting that you guys
that's so crazy.
bring this up too, because I've been doing presentations at high schools for the BC building trades. So I basically go to high schools and I present to grade 10, 11, 12 students about a career in trades, why trades are a good option. And obviously right now there's a lot of money in trades, and just trying to show them the alternative route besides traditional university. And I feel like if I wasn't doing this program, I feel like a lot of these kids I talk to, they have no input on trades. Even now, and I thought that, you know, it's been, 20 years since we've been in high school. I thought that high schools would be a bit further along, but I think it's still not quite as like accepted as it should be.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's a generational thing as well, because if you think about like our parents' generation, the dads, like in particular, they just did those jobs, right? They did like the handy jobs of like, if something went wrong with the sink, they would fix the sink, or if something went wrong with like the wiring, they would fix the wiring. But now, as a generation, we're kind of like inept when it comes to that.
No, but you know what?
So we need people to like have those jobs. Like there's higher demand for them right now.
When I present in like Langley, I find there's a lot more interest than when I present in North.
I was just about to say this. So what I was going to say
it's not
is,
surprising to hear.
It's also like a product of your environment. I'm guarantee you, if he went and presented in Vancouver, like East Van or even Richmond, or even like middle Vancouver, like South Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot more schools. It's just, I don't want to like shit on those neighborhoods, but there's a lot less money.
Well,
affluence.
well, no, it is.
Right.
It's true. It's true, because it truly, to become a lawyer, a doctor and stuff, it is like a very high end educational dream, and it's not like, I don't know, a trade is safer because you can go learn it and like apply it. To become like a doctor or lawyer, it is very few and far between, even if you really want to. It's not as simple as like, oh, yo, I want to become a doctor, and you just go and become one. Like, there's people that try so hard to become a doctor, and they still fail at it. And I'm not saying that to be a tradesman's easy. It's just, it is easier.
There's an easier barrier to entry.
Yes.
And then the other thing, too, is that you can spend a year doing it and quickly switch into something else if it's not for you, and you've still built some skills, you've made some money.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like some professions or some schools, once you're, you know, you've started it, you're pot committed. You're like, well, I spent all this money trying to do this.
Me, I have nowhere like
Yeah.
I could pivot, but I'd have to like reset completely, right?
Yeah. And because trade schools are like, if you're in the union, like your school's paid for and there's government grants and there's all these incentives, like if you did a year of it and you're like, okay, you know what? I can leave because I've not committed anything to this. So like, it's kind of nice that you can at least give it a try, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so now I want to pivot into your former career.
Yeah.
Being a chef.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like you can be a chef and you can go and work at a restaurant and cook, but that doesn't necessarily put you on the level of chef that you're at. Like you're like culinarily trained and you've done some pretty insane events,
no
right?
way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, no, I went to...
Start from the beginning. I want to hear that. I've never heard this.
Well, I always loved to cook, and in high school I got a job in a restaurant. I worked at the Cheshire Cheese Inn, which I don't know if it's even open
gone.
anymore.
It's
It's
gone.
gone now.
It's-
Yeah.
Was it
It's-
upper...
In the Lonsdale Key.
yeah, that
Yeah. It's gone.
And the food was nothing like special, but you learn like the basics, right?
Yeah.
And from there, I started working in like hotels. I worked at the Pan Pacific and the Convention Center, which was pretty cool.
Sweet.
I did culinary school at
For how long?
VCC. I did the 1-year program.
Okay.
And then after that, it's like any other trade where you basically work for a year, 2 to 3 months of school, depending on the program, work for a year, and then kind of thing.
So do you have your like red?
I don't have my red seal.
Okay.
No, I have all my hours. I could literally take it, but I just never did. It's kind of interesting because I always talk to plumbers about this because in basically every other trade, if you don't have your red seal, like you need to have it. Basically, you can't be a journeyman without it. But in cooking, like it's nice to have, but there's so many amazing chefs that don't have it, and a lot of times I've even hired people myself who have it, and I'm like, oh, you're not very good.
Interesting.
Because what's really more important in cooking is the resume that person has, and then you usually stage, right? So stage is when someone comes in and they work for the day for free. Usually you feed them a meal and you watch them cook, and you see, can they actually cook or not?
You want to know how I know that word?
How do you know that?
The bear.
The bear is excellent.
So like when you say you watch them cook, is it like you're just like, hey, go work in the restaurant, or do you you're like, make me this, make me that, and you watch them?
It depends. Like some restaurants would, like literally like do a black box. So they give you a box with the ingredients, and it's like, make me something.
Like MasterChef.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because like shows like Chopped and stuff, like that all comes from Black Box, which was just a competition that always existed within the show.
Oh, crazy.
Okay,
I didn't know
okay.
that.
That's so
Chopped was
dope.
like one of my favorites growing up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
such a good show.
Master
And-
Chef too. So
Yeah.
good, yeah.
But then like other places would just put you to work in the restaurant, and the chef may not even be watching you, but then he would talk to all of his guys and be like, okay, how was this guy? Can you work with them? What do you think?
Yeah, because that, I guess, is a big part of it. Like, you obviously have to know how to cook. But if you know how to cook and you're a prick, no one's going to want to work with you.
I feel like that's most chefs.
I feel like
to
there's
be
a lot,
honest
but I
with
feel like
you.
there's like a certain like it's a weird trade. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a trade where if you're a good enough chef, you can get by in terms of personality, or like I mean, maybe explain that side.
I think so. I think there's a lot of times where like if someone's really good at what they do, like I've definitely glossed over the fact that they're a dick. And it's tough because it's a balancing act where you want to make all your employees happy, and if they're constantly butting heads with everyone, you end up in a situation where you could lose those people. So it is a bit of a balancing act. I've definitely had times where I've kept people on longer than I should have, and I wish I had like let them go because it just wasn't good for the team morale.
Right.
So I think it's a balancing act.
So we were talking, this is it, I can't remember if it was Elliot's Bachelor or Baker. Can you tell us that story? You fed it was like 9,000 people? Or what was that you had a huge thing? It was, I think you were at the event center, it was over.
Oh, just the convention center?
Yeah.
Oh, no, well, there's like, so during the Olympics, the 2010 Olympics, we fed all of the media, right? So like from around the world for the Olympics, everyone would come, and there was, buffet style, and then there would be plated dinners for like maybe the more senior media members. But there was just one in particular where it was 900 people, but it was plated.
Oh, no.
Right, so that's obviously a lot of
Still a lot.
But what they would do is
Whoa.
all these places, they have a conveyor belt, and everyone has one ingredient, so I could be like the carrot guy.
Yeah.
And as the plate passes me, I just put the carrots on the plate. The next guy puts,
saucier.
yeah, someone puts like the mash, someone does the sauce, and then the key to that was really like you didn't want to be the person who stopped the line,
Right.
because as soon as like I fumbled and I dropped something and now I was behind, they had to stop the line. Everything, the whole thing shut down until we got back on track, and everyone would be like, "Fuck, what the hell are you doing?"
So it sounds like you got pretty far in terms of like the level, like the ladder climbing in the chef world.
Yeah, I mean, I got to, I was a sous chef at various places, and then I was a head chef with Browns.
Okay.
But that, oh man, I mean, I probably shouldn't say anything negative, but like that was, you know.
No
You
one's
just say
Let's
what
be
you
real.
want, no one's listening.
I actually tallied it out, and we have 20 listeners average, and
None of them
5
work
of
for
them are
Browns.
me.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, and to be fair, like, if they looked at the turnover they've had, like, surely they know that there's issues, and like that is every restaurant has a lot of turnover. But yeah, there was a lot of issues with that place, and that was part of the reason why I started to fall out of love with cooking. And I came to the conclusion that like you can have a passion like cooking and still do it in your free time,
Yeah.
but have a career that's just better for you. In general.
Yeah.
Did you ever think
100%.
about like, I don't know, because you see for every person that gets into the culinary world and just becomes like part of the, I guess, the factory of cooking, there's like the one person that makes it and becomes like a celebrity chef or like executive chef or like chef influencer or whatever it is. Was that something, an option that you ever look at back then, or I don't know, because I don't know how long ago you stopped this, but obviously with social media, there's been this huge turn on even just like cooking in front of a camera at home, right?
Yeah, I think like, so it was 6 years ago that I was last a chef. It's kind of interesting because I do think about that sometimes, because there were times where I wanted to like work my way up with a certain organization. There's times where I wanted to start my own restaurant. And then now looking back and like, you know, I think I have like a fine personality. I'm okay. I'm in front of a camera. I can speak.
You would have been.
If I had grown up maybe in the time of that YouTube, I could have like started something, but I don't know. The market's so oversaturated now with YouTube chefs that I don't know if
I don't know. Like I agree with you. You have the personality, you have the looks, and like the charm to like be able to do it.
Why, thank you.
I'm right here.
Need I go on? Okay, I will. Fine. But I strongly feel a lot of the social media or like any content world is how well you can edit stuff as well, and like there's a huge heavy like film content or film perspective. Like every time I watch any video on YouTube that I like, they just happen to also be like exceptionally well put together videos. It's never, you're never watching someone that's like fumbling with the camera shitty being like, yo, this is the best, right?
You know what though? I will counter. There are some YouTube chefs that I like to watch that are just continuous.
Okay.
And it depends on the format and how you present, right? Like, I think there's like a certain, I don't know, I guess, ability to present what you want to show. I think the ones you're following, obviously, are like you're more drawn to the cinematic,
like highly
production.
Yeah.
But I think if you have the personality and you sit there and you cook with someone, like there's also like an avenue to make a lot of money doing that too.
True.
Yeah,
True,
I agree with Dax, because I think that like if the content, the actual information, you know, when you're looking at the brass tacks of like what they're delivering is good, like this person knows how to cook, they're delivering it in a good way, and they're setting you up so that you can do it. Like I personally, I love that. That's why I like watching Maddie Matheson.
Maddie Matheson.
It makes it so
Yeah.
approachable, right?
Yeah.
And I've cooked a lot of his recipes, and obviously I have a background, so it's easier for me. But still, I feel like most people could cook the recipes he cooks.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, Best Ever Food Review Show is definitely more about like, woo, check this shit out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I
Yeah.
love that show.
I love both.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing I love about
Yeah.
Maddie Matheson is you can tell in some of his episodes that he's clearly shot like 20 episodes that day or something, because it's like the level of care is so low, and he's like, we've just been here all day, and you're like, yeah, it shows. Not in a negative way, but it's just like the way he acts. You're like, yeah, I can tell.
That's another thing though. When your revenue comes directly from content, that becomes your job, and you have to like be putting effort and putting work and like really going into it hard. And then it's like, do you even like it anymore? Because you're just having to put all of this like commitment around something that you just want to have fun with.
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of food related stuff?
Not as much as I used to, actually. I don't watch, like, in general, as much TV as I used to. I find I don't have as much time. But, like, those are the two I mentioned. Those are two that I watch. I used to really love Chef's Table. It was one of my favorite shows. Because that just makes me want to get in the kitchen and start cooking, like, 100%.
A chef is, like, you can argue, like, baseline one of the most important things. Like, if you go really, really far back, like really far back, the person that cooked even around the fire, like the tribe, right?
Well, yeah, it's an important part of the community.
It's a really important thing, and no one would dispute that. And I'm not saying that chefs should be making MBA money, but it's just crazy how hard it is to... Like, for example, yourself, you can, like, speak to so well how, like, it's not this cut and dry of, like, I love this thing, I'll do it, and if I'm the best, I'm instantly gonna become, like, Gordon Ramsay. Like, that's not all. There's some really good chefs that they just end up working, and they're not, like, these, like, ballers that have these nice houses and the best restaurant, right?
But you know what, though? The culinary world is so weird in the sense that you can have people that are exceptional at cooking that don't go into it professionally. Look at Zach.
Yeah, Zach is
amazing with meat. Like, he's honestly, like,
Guy knows his meat.
he does know his meat. He knows his meat really well.
Oh.
In and out, the shape,
we all know
sizes,
Zach's meat.
thickness, girth, everything.
I gotta see this guy's meat, though.
Yeah.
I mean, to speak to what you said about, like, the importance of chef, like, even in, like, the early days, but now you think about what food does is it brings everyone together.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have a family dinner every single Sunday. I'm super close to my family,
Wow,
and it's
that's
always
amazing.
over food, right? So food, like, if you look at certain cultures, it's really important that way. But then to also talk about how, what an NBA athlete makes and what a chef makes, like, well, we've deemed what these things are worth in society, right? And whether that's right or wrong, like, that's what we've deemed. So,
Yeah,
like, if
that's
people
so
are,
true.
as long as they're willing to pay for, NFL Game Pass and buy the jerseys or whatever, like, that's always going to be
That's
true.
true. I know.
Right?
Imagine there's, like, NFL Game Pass, but it's just Jack at the restaurant, like, preparing, chopping this stuff in the morning.
I would honestly take, like, a Michelin star, like, tasting menu over going to watch a soccer game.
Yeah. I mean,
Every day.
I don't know. I cried.
It's funny because I just go back from Europe and, like, some of the meals I had were the best of my life. And those were memories that will be with me forever. But then, like, when I was in South America, for those who don't know, my mom is from Argentina. So I was in Argentina, I was with my family, and I went to a couple games down there, and just the atmosphere, like, that's something I'll never forget too. I just feel like I couldn't choose between the two.
Okay, well, it's interesting because I feel like they kind of, both of them have different ways of getting to bringing people together. The obvious one being, like, you're all literally around something, but food being more, everyone goes there for the food and then I guess the company too. Whereas when you go to a sporting event, you're not going there to be around everyone. I think you're going there to, air quotes, watch the sport, which you literally are. But I think there's a huge draw to being around the energy of being in this, like, massive
100%.
arena.
And there's a community.
And everyone's like, yeah or no together.
Like, I guarantee you, like, you're not a big baseball fan.
No.
I guarantee you if we brought you to a
100%.
baseball game,
I would
you'd
love
be
to go see a
fully
baseball
into a
game.
baseball.
I saw actually the Montreal Expos, their last season they played in Canada, and I didn't care at all, showed up there and had the best time. Yeah.
I guess, like, the biggest difference, they both could bring people together, but one is going to have conflict. Sports, whether it's opposing fans or if there's just hooligans or whatever, alcohol involved. And then with food, generally when people are eating, they're happy. So
Unless they're, like, entitled Karen. And
it's true. I guess I'm more talking about, like, the family
Actually,
aspect.
now that you brought that up, like, what are, like, obviously years spent in the kitchen, and you have to go to specifics, like, where it happened.
Yeah.
But, like, what are some nightmare stories with customers you've had? I mean, you're obviously in the back and not front facing, but, like, give us, like, an example of something.
Oh,
that,
man.
like,
I mean, I've been at restaurants that don't sell sushi where someone's like, could you just make me sushi? And, like, so I was wanting to say no, but our manager was like, we have to do this. So, like, I went to the, they wait a long time. But I went to the grocery store and I bought sushi rice. I cooked it. I bought, the nori, and I bought the sashimi grade fish, and I cooked everything up, and then I cooled the rice super quick, and then I made them a sushi roll. And they were super, super happy. And I was like, there's no way that like the labor and money we put into that, like we're getting whatever you charged for, wasn't it?
It was like $6.50 or something.
So crazy.
But like stuff like that, I think like it's like a lot of places in the world, you order stuff and that's what you get. I think this culture of modifying food orders and ordering off menu is very much like a North American thing.
I'm not surprised to hear that at all. Okay, so this is my question I was referring to earlier. So let's go to a world. Let me just everyone look up into the sky and ponder for a second. Let's go to a world where you don't have to worry about money and you're in your tribe. So like what you do, you just have to, everything is gained via like if you're a doctor, you're not like, oh wow, you're a doctor, you have a lot of money, you have influence. It's like, because you're a doctor, you have influence because you help people in the community. Okay. So you're in that kind of community. What job do you choose? Do you be the chef or the plumber?
Oh man, I might even have a third answer here.
Okay.
I spent a year as a butcher.
Oh.
And I was doing like full breakdown. So like getting in the whole animal. And I love that. The only reason I stopped doing it is because it just wasn't paying enough.
Yeah.
But there's something cathartic about just like sitting there and cutting up meat all day.
It's funny you say that.
satisfying.
My uncle's a butcher.
It's awesome.
He makes good meat.
It's funny. Yeah, he made some really good meat. It's funny you say that because I used to work at Veer Burger and some guy came in one night and he was like, what are the meat cut of this? Like, he was like, how much is beef? And I was like, I don't know, I think it's 100% beef. And he's like, it's not. Like, and I was like, okay, I'm just like minimum wage worker here. And anyhow, he offered me an internship to become a master butcher. But I don't think butchers like the best like money. I know maybe your uncle makes money, but I didn't view it that way.
To be fair, he's been around since like the early 90s here. You get in the market, like there's how many butcher shops North Van?
Well, it depends too if you own your own shop. I don't know if he does.
He does, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So like, for example, if you go work at like a commercial plant and it's like mass production, I think you get paid more there as an employee, but then that'd probably take the joy out of it. But when you're working at like artisan craft butcher shops, the owner is the one making like tons of money, but the employees typically are, not making as much. And like, so yeah, I think for me, I would have to have owned my own shop.
Dude, that would be a sweet job.
Well, that makes sense.
Super
well,
sweet. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense because like I was telling Derek, like I can't say where I work right now, not on the podcast, but our CEO makes $16.8 million a year.
Well, there you go.
And scaled to like how much we all make as salary, you're like, whoa.
It is crazy. Like I feel like that with trades as well, with plumbing, for example, when I find out like that I get billed out at like, I think it's like $160 an hour, and then I'm getting paid around $50 an hour right now. Jeez. And like, of course, some of that is like you gotta pay for your van and the gas, and like there's certain like costs that are baked in, but then like a lot of that is just going to either pay the office staff, or then you see at the end of the year what the company made, and you're like,
that's a. Yeah, you show up at the work party and they're like, yo, we got a Yeti cooler to auction off. And you're like...
I feel like that's a dig at my work.
no, it's not a dig. It's Neve's work. Yeah. Every year, the Christmas party, they like have the craziest things. Like they
did a trip to Hawaii and a trip to Vegas.
Oh, and 3 Yeti coolers. Yeti mugs, Samsung Galaxies, the new ones, headphone, all this shit. And I literally was sitting there and I was just like, I felt so out of place. It's like, if you can't leave here until we win a Yeti cooler. Like, that's my best chance at winning a Yeti, or having you, because I can't afford.
Yetis are so nice.
Well, I shouldn't even say afford. You can't justify like $1,200.
50% off.
A Yeti?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeti,
it's practically free at that point.
Dude, it'll be like $1,000.
We'll talk after this. I'll show you like the discount list that I have right now.
Oh yeah.
I gotta.
Yeah. It's crazy. Camping gear, dude. We could outfit our entire like crew with camping gear.
everyone comes in with like Yeti. It's like, I didn't even know Yeti made a tent. Like 50% off they do.
Yeah, it's really cold inside.
Just made of coolers.
We all have Yetis. Like, why do you have 6 Yetis? Like,
Matching Yetis.
like, what's the practical use?
I got a good story actually about a raffle. So I went to a union event, and they were doing a raffle at the end for everyone who attended. Mm-hmm. And one of the prizes was AirPods.
Okay.
And when they pulled the name or the number, no one came at first. And then suddenly someone said, "Oh no, he's coming." And we look, and it's this 90-year-old man is just like creaking his way towards the front. And I just turned to my like coworker and I'm like, "There's no fucking way he knows how to use this." How the fuck is he getting those? God damn it.
AirPods.
That was like when we were at my work and the kid next to us won a Yeti cooler.
Yeah, it was
remember?
a little like...
And he didn't even know what Yeti was.
He was like, "I don't get it."
the
And then
parents.
I was like, "Do you camp?" And he's like, "No." And I was just like, "This is devastating."
I thought I was getting a mythical creature.
Dude, if you I want a Yeti.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jack, we know you're a chef, or you were a chef, we know you're a plumber, but I feel like that's just like literally just career stuff. I want to talk about your like comedy stuff because I just to pick your brain specifically, but first I want to get into your fitness because when I met you, you were never like a fat guy. Never. I don't want to use that word, but
He's being nice.
you had some weight on you, right?
Yeah.
And
I was a corn-fed boy.
and you have made a phenomenal transformation into you're very fit now, and you're always working out. And I just want you to talk about it because I feel like there's an underlying key that's like consistent in anyone that gets fit. But I just want to hear from the goat's mouth kind of journey.
Thanks, man. I know I paid you to say that, but it still felt really good to hear. So
It wasn't that much. It was like $150.
yeah, still worth it. No, I mean, like it's really nice. It's like an addicting feeling once you do it. I think anyone can do it once they get over that certain hump and they build it into their routine. Because once you start seeing gains, it's really hard to like put that aside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like it's addicting. But the main thing for me was controlling my diet.
Yes.
Like my chef's diet from before, the way I used to eat was obscene. Like it was disgusting the things I would put into my body.
Yeah. Yeah. That the main thing you said it there is I feel like having routine and consistency because that's all it really is like, it's like anything you do, like for example, diet. I've always laughed at, I think this is a thing of when we were young. And it's kind of gone away, but I'm assuming people still do it. Like, I'm changing my diet. I'm going on a diet. And it's like, for like 2 months, I'm not going to eat this way. And you're like, well, if you're going to do it for 2 months, it's not going to work.
It has to be sustainable.
It has to be something you actually do consistently. And then like working out on the other side of the spectrum for that is the same thing. Yeah, it's not eating, but it's like, if you're someone that goes to the gym for like 3 weeks, it's like, screaming, working out, but you're so tired and dead, you're probably not going to be able to maintain that.
Yeah.
It's about the consistency of being able to like make it your life, make it something you always do. And then over time you do see the gains and you get like that addicted feeling to it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's what I tell every single person that wants to work out. And I'm like, it's just literally consistency. Like,
Yep.
you don't have to work out super hard. You just have to do it regularly, whatever you decide what regular is for you.
And if you do that, you probably will end up working out harder because you'll start to really like it.
Yeah.
But here's my little pro tip.
Mm-hmm.
My sports lock of the week. For a lot of people, they asked me because I lost 40 pounds, so they wanted to know what I did. And it's not necessarily a diet, but it's portion control, right? So it's not necessarily eating something different. It's just eating less of what you already are eating. That's what really made a big difference for me. Cause sometimes people will be like, "Oh, I'm eating really healthy." And I'm like, and I look what they're eating and like, it's inherently healthy, but there's like 4 portions of it. So
Absolutely.
cut it back a bit, eat the same thing. And then for the first couple of weeks, your stomach is going to be hungry, but then it adjusts, right?
Yeah.
And once your stomach adjusts, you're
Dude, I honestly completely, cause I don't know if Derek ever told you, same thing, I did the exact same thing after high school.
Yeah.
I lost 50 pounds coming out of high school. Part of it was because I had no friends in university. So all I could do was just work out. Like all I did was like my first 5 months of my semester, I was like, I'm just going to go to the gym and run every single day. And I came back to Christmas break and like people were like, what the what happened?
Is that when Derek started hanging out?
I was like this. Who are you? Because I like you now. I hated that old guy.
Yeah. I mean, like you need to be positive and you need to be like happy and good towards yourself for your body image and all that. But like, yeah, like a driving force to look better is a good thing too. I think sometimes we're so much body positivity where it's like, okay, but if someone's unhealthy, we should probably like want them to be positive, but also be healthy.
Oh, this is a rabbit hole.
Yeah, quite frankly, I actually think the people that, and this isn't like, there's people that they're not the fittest, but they're not this person. But I think there's a lot of people that actually like demonize being in shape and liking the way you look. I think they're just really lazy, to be honest. Yeah. Because most people, like it's just like most people try their best and want to look better, and then there's this thing where you're like, I don't know, it shouldn't be about the way you look and blah 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 and all that. And if someone looks good, they instantly are like, oh, they're so in love with themselves and like point all these fingers. And I'm like sitting there and I just have this picture of this kind of person in my head, and I'm like, I feel like you are lazy and don't want to do anything to try and be better. So instead of doing the hard thing, which is like putting in effort, you just want to like bring everything down a peg to like, no, it's not like these people love themselves and blah blah. It's like, no, maybe the problem is you're lazy.
Yeah.
What are you doing for workouts right now? Like, what are your consistent routine right now?
So I usually just go freak out on a Bowflex. No, I'm just kidding.
Just peg deck the whole time.
So
That's all you need, dude.
I do 6 on, 1 off, and I do push pull leg, and then the off day. Okay. Now because life, is what it is. Sometimes I will, if my rest day is usually a Friday, and I'm like, man, like I can't do it Wednesday for some. I can't work on Wednesday. I'll shift my workouts around so I actually work on Friday.
Nice.
So it's not always like the same rest day, but I try and have the same rest day. And it always starts with a bike as well, just because for my knees, I have really bad knees from soccer. I just need that bike. It makes such a big difference.
For me, because I don't know, when Derek met me, or he's worked out with me a few times, and I've gone through like the spectrum of like how I work out.
Yeah,
like,
Dax has been through. You have like multiple different like types of like phases of working.
Yeah. But what I found that's been super hard in the last few years is, essentially I've been 4 or 5 years of like trying to get back from injuries, right? But part of it was when I first met him, I was like a psychopath. Like it
was crazy.
It literally was a psychopath.
Crazy.
And it made sense why I got hurt. Because I would get up at 5. I would get up at 4 or 5 and go for like a run, like a 1 hour run. I would go to jiu-jitsu, do an 8-hour day, meet up with him for an hour workout, do another 3 hours of jiu-jitsu, sleep, and do the exact same thing the next day.
And while all this was going on, when he'd meet up with the workouts, so I was getting in shape. I wasn't like peak fitness, but it wasn't like I was out of shape at all. And Dax was like, literally, I'd be like dying, like, ah, and he would just be easily doing it. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. You've been awake for like 8 hours already. How are you doing this?
You go into the bathroom and he's just snorting pre-workout.
But so I got hurt. So that's the thing. I got hurt. And then what I've learned from that is just I need to find a routine that actually works for my life and preserving my body, because you're not getting any younger, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, the older we get, the harder. For those listening, I know I sound quite young, but I'm actually 33.
What?
But
wait, whoa. We thought you were like 22. Get off this pod.
Should call this the 3 old men.
3 old men.
3 old men.
Hey, you don't say anything.
Stay a while and listen.
Well, that's
deep cut.
When I used to live down in on Esplanade, I used to live in one of the Pinnacle buildings, so I got the Pinnacle's gym. And
bit of a humble brag.
He brings it up enough.
I'm at the Pinnacle.
Like,
or the Pinnacle, as it's known.
Like, it wasn't a big deal. Like, most of my friends had Ferraris and Porsches. Not me, obviously. I
wasn't dead, but
I was a renter. But they had them. No, I remember this one dude. He was named Mark Barrett. He was a teacher at Handsworth. But but I knew him through soccer. So he was like when I was like he was the old guy on the team when I was young, kind of thing. And I just remember I was working out and I was just like doing the like classic young dude thing of like you're on the free weights and you're just jacking up chest as like hard as you can. You're like 90 sets later. and I was like, hey Mark, how's it going? And I thought I was like so chotch being like, I was like, how much you lifting right now? And he was doing like 10-pound single leg balance rotation, get to the end range and come back slowly. And I just remember being like, that's all I literally, I was like,
what's that loser doing?
Yeah, like, who is this guy?
Don't you remember this when we first started deadlifting and you got really into deadlifting? We did that month of like, I was like, remember I said I wasn't going to lift heavy anymore? Like, we're going to go super heavy. And that one personal trainer was like, oh man, I don't even go beyond like 175 pounds anymore. And I remember being like, idiot.
Yeah, like, you call yourself a personal trainer?
And now I'm like, he knew something.
Yeah, it's like, this guy 100. Yeah, no, and now I like literally like I go and I get like a 15-pound weight and I'm like, whoa, no one wants to hurt themselves today. Put it back.
I'm sure it's the same for you guys, but sometimes you go to the gym and you see kids, they're doing the things that we used to do and you like almost want to tell them and you're like, no, they gotta figure it out.
Yeah,
they don't want to.
They probably don't want to listen
Yeah.
either.
And also you come off as like that
That old
douchebag at
man.
the gym, you know?
Yeah.
Because you see it all the
Old
time. Like when you look at the gym and then you see people going like, you see people like giving advice and you're like, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are bad, but in my gym, there's barefoot guy who does step ups, literal step ups onto the benches. So like, you know, he sets the bar
like double.
high. And then there's guy who lives there because it's a 24-hour gym, but he'll reserve like 3 machines at once. And like normally when someone reserves like multiple machines, I'll just move their stuff. And if they come over and have a problem, I'm like, I'm working in. All right,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
relax. But his stuff is so gross. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna touch that. It's gonna stay right where it is.
Do you have big muscly guy that wears like that huge
Yeah, and it comes
cutout,
so
like, that
far
comes
down the side.
With the string like tank? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We do.
okay, this is a thing. So since I've had the kid, like I told Neve, I was like,
The kid. Our child.
so since I've had our child, Juliet, I was like the main things I really want to do is like soccer in the gym. Those are like really important to me to keep up with, right? But just due to having a kid, there is things where I can still always get to the gym. It's just like I might only have 45 minutes at the gym as opposed to an hour and a half, which I always had, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine because you easily can get a good workout in 45 minutes. If easy, right?
You just have to cut things.
But the thing you have to cut is all the fucking people talking to you when you
So I
go to
wear
the gym.
headphones.
Do you
The
like?
social stuff,
Do you have that where they're
Yeah.
they're not your homies? It's not like I come up like, yo, Jack, what's up? It's like some dude that's like, I only know you because of the gym, and I'm gonna talk to you for a bit about nothing, blah blah blah. And so I said to this one guy, he's my client, and he came up, and I literally was like, yo, man, I have 40 minutes, and I gotta get to work, so I'm just gonna do this and go. And I dapped him up and left. And he came up to me later, was like, dude, like the next day when I wasn't in a rush, he's like, that's so amazing. Like, thank you so much for doing that. And I was like, so confused. He's like, yeah, I just can't stand that when like you sit there and talk to people forever and you don't want to. And I'm just like, yeah, that's like, there is that people at the gym, not the guy I'm talking to, the people that like, they have 9 hours at the gym.
Yeah.
And they have a job, but somehow they're at the gym the whole time. So you're there, you're like, hey, I gotta work out. And they're just like, I'm just going to talk to you because I really have nothing else to do.
I'm telling you, that's the polite Canadian in you guys. You don't tell him to like fuck off.
Or
Yeah.
you just don't make friends at the gym. Because I've been going to a different gym because I'm over the bridge now, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So today, for example, I went to the gym after work. And I got through my entire workout and nobody bothered me. It was
That's really
I
nice.
go
It
through
is
my
nice.
workout so fast because I wear my resting bitch face and soundproof headphones.
That's good.
So even if someone tries to talk to me, I'm just like, I'm sorry, can't hear you, and then ignore them.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I had people who I would talk with a lot, but I don't see them as much anymore. I think I scared them away. So they're, it's not happening as much
It
anymore,
happens.
but once in a while I'll get in a conversation with someone, I'm like, fuck.
They're like, yo, can you spot
What's the
me?
point?
And they're like, why are you only wearing spandex? And you're like, just spot me.
Yeah. I actually had a
spot me
funny
numbers.
story, from my gym where, I found out that the plumbing company I work for also is the plumbing company for the gym.
Okay.
So I went there during the day to fix one of their showers. And basically their shower wasn't running. And I opened up the wall behind to look at the piping. And it basically had a fitting that was about to burst off. And it, of course, burst off as soon as I removed the wall. And I got like soaked, like completely head to toe. So then I shut off the water and I fixed everything, but I came out of the shower room and I'm just like literally drenched, like water is like pouring off of me. And of course I run to everyone I know at the gym, or from now on, every people see me and they're like, "Oh, hey, it's the fucking plumber who got soaked in the gym," and they want to talk to me about it.
You're like,
So even the people who didn't know me like now know who I am. And
you're like, God damn it, I don't want this fucking. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. Have you ever lived in a small town?
No.
Have you?
No.
So
Columbia doesn't count.
So I lived in Kitimat. I think there was about 4,000 people when I worked there. I'd argue less. Doesn't matter. Difference between a small town and a big city is anonymity, like the ability to, you go outside and like, I'd say Vancouver's kind of like a middle ground, because you go outside and like, for example, North Van, a lot of people know you, but no one knows you. Like, you're not walking down the street every day and everyone's always like, "Yo, Jack, Dax, what's up?" But you very easily could see for like 3-4 days in a row people you know, right?
Mm.
So big cities, you don't see anyone, you don't know anyone. Small towns, you literally, no matter what you do, everyone, like the person that you got in a fight with at the bar is the person that's checking your groceries out, is the person that's I don't know, like it's just everything. And I don't know, just your story just kind of made me think of that. But like, you kind of want to be known.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't want to be unknown. You don't want to walk into a room and no one ever sees you. But at the same time, like, you don't really want to be that known that every time you walk in a door, everyone is like, "Yo, what's up?" Or at least I don't.
That's literally the definition of you, though. We, like, when Derek and I used to go to the gym together, at least 6 times during our hour workout, people would come up to Derek and like chat to him.
Do you just like pretend like you don't know him?
And I would just stand there like a lemon, because Derek also has this habit of never introducing me to people.
Oh yeah, Neve's on the pod.
You didn't say it at the beginning either. Just saying, Derek never introduces me to people. Right? I gave this dude a baby too. Like, come on.
Exactly what he wanted.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, you gotta take that one on the chin.
But you do have a ton of people that come up to you and just want to like start chatting to you.
Yeah, okay, sure, that's the gym, but like on a small town, that's everywhere all the time. Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be sweet to be rich as hell, but to have fame, I don't think is all it's chalked up to be.
You know what though? That's what a lot of people.
I'm not saying I am. I'm just saying.
I was listening to an Obama pod the other day. Not that like I follow Obama, but he just happened to be on.
Wow, what a leftist! Eh?
Wow, this guy's just. Dude, you don't want to see his house. It's just Obama.
No, but you know the old man in the.
It's a tasteful nude of Obama.
Tasteful nude.
It's funny because I do have an Obama painting. Yeah. Not that I'm like, okay, I don't want to get into my politics because
no, he is objectively a great dude.
I'm very much aligned with Derek's politics. So let me just say that, okay? But I was listening to the old man in the 3, and he happened to be on that pod, and they're asking him, like, what are some of the things you miss about like not being known? And he's like, honestly, I just miss being able to go for a walk.
Yeah.
He's like, I literally cannot go for a walk in North America.
Yeah.
Anywhere. He's like, if I don't have sunglasses, a hood on, or a hat. He's like, no matter where I go, I'll get recognized. And even when I take the precautions, my voice is so recognizable.
Yeah, he does that.
People all of a sudden like turn their head and they like, is that Obama?
Yeah, like Obama couldn't go in Canada anyway.
It's like when we saw Seth. I was gonna say Seth Rollins. Yeah. It's not Seth Rollins. Seth, what's his name? The stoner guy. It was not Seth Rogen. Oh, it is Seth Rogen. Yeah. The stoner guy? Yeah, we saw him at Richmond Night Market.
Yeah, because he's from Vancouver.
Yeah, and he had like a COVID mask and glasses and a hat, but he laughed, and you're like, oh yeah.
His laugh,
you just knew.
His laugh doesn't make sense if, like, when you're used to seeing it on film and it's so, like, theatrical, and then when you just hear him, you're like, around his family, you're like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. You know what, though? Liv Morgan is the same. You know that laugh she does? if you ever watch her in interviews, that's her real laugh.
Yeah.
Like, she just laughs like that. Like
that.
I'm drawing a blank on this now, but do you remember that? What hockey player was it that it was for the Sens who had Spezza, the Spezza laugh? Anyone who who's listening to this, the first thing you need to do is just Google the Spezza laugh.
Can you do an impression for us, Jack?
Like it was just like the nerdiest laugh ever. Also, Google Ted Danson blackface.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you know this.
No, because he did blackface for, I guess he was banging Whoopi Goldberg, so he did a blackface for her roast, and it didn't go over well. Let's just say that.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
People have such unique laughs. Like I don't know if you've ever listened to the Kawhi laugh, like the
that one, yeah, that's also a good one. Yeah.
I just saw the tidbits. Is that it?
Yeah,
that's
it's
him.
insane.
Do
Like
you
it's
guys-
literally insane.
Wait. Do you guys remember, like, back when I was a kid, they had the Skype laugh train? Do you remember that?
No.
No. Okay. Well,
Also,
I am
it's weird that
younger
you said.
than you,
It's
so-
weird that you said back when I was a kid, because Skype. I started using Skype in like 2008. Like when I was 18.
That's when I was a kid.
I know.
In 2008,
Yeah,
I was
It's weird that you're dating a 15-year-old.
10, 11, 10. I just banged his head.
Right. Sorry, guys. We just need to do a quick little ad break. This podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. No, we're not doing that.
Okay, yo, I was thinking it'd be funny to do. You do like
Unofficial
adverts for
sponsors?
commercials, but
For sponsors that you want to have.
But like, okay, so have you seen? Were you watching any Amazon Prime over before the BC election? They had the funniest smear campaign against John Rustad.
Yeah,
It'd be like this. They'd be
every
like this.
time.
They'd be like, John Rustad's a bad dude. He just hates fun. And then the next scene would be like, brought to you by the NDP. Yeah. And so I was thinking we should do all these ads. And it's like, do you like partying and drinking and having the best time of your life? Drink alcohol. Brought to you by beer companies. Like everything's like,
Also, you're like brought to you by John Rust.
It's funny you said that because there's a fantasy football podcast I listen to, and leading up to the election, they did like fake advertisements, but for like football players.
Okay.
And they're like- so they'd be talking, and all of a sudden they get into like a BC election or like a political campaign, but it'd be for a football player.
Dude, I just think it's so funny. Like, I get the idea behind it because it's so that you can't like smear someone and then everyone believes it without like knowing who's putting it out. But it just seems like such a waste of money to be like, you can say whatever you want about them, but you have to also like state it's you. I'm like, that's just a waste of money then, because like, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
Well, speaking of elections, and I don't want to go into it at all, because we promised ourselves that we would never
Go into
dip
that.
into this
Political.
topic.
Yeah, we don't want to
But
be in that.
But how wild
yeah,
was
that
the reactions and the fallout from what happened this week?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty cuckoo crazy.
My boss is like, he falls on the side of Donald Trump is like, he will like, the world's over. And so he's like
For the listeners, Derek just put on a "Make America Great Again" hat.
thank you for the visual.
But not the red one, like the nice black one that's been
Yeah, it's
out there
custom
lately.
made.
It's custom made. No, and I just watched my boss like walk around work just so clearly, just like distraught, and I was like, "Yo, Peter, like, what are you doing right now?" And he was just like, I can't find the keys to the spare keys to the electrical room. And they've been lost, I don't know how long now, and I'm trying to find them. And you could just tell he was just like so
zoned
phased
out.
out.
I'm curious to see how you guys feel, but for example, I went to my brother-in-law's birthday, and they were all talking politics because it was that day, it was Tuesday.
Okay.
And when I'm in situations like that, I typically don't show my hand. But let's say after this pod, we want to get into the nitty-gritty.
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But so I'll do it with my close friends, but typically, like, I don't think the general public needs to know my opinions on these things. How do you guys feel about it? Yeah.
I agree.
So I completely agree, but I agree in the sense of the general public doesn't need to know, but I also don't think the general public is a space where they're receptive if you're
definitely.
of the
Yeah.
contrary.
Yeah.
So, because I want to have those conversations with people, but I'm at a point now in my life where I have to tiptoe. Like, I really have to tiptoe.
You can't have conversations anymore.
Guess where he lives?
No, people, it's true. People are super sensitive on both sides.
This guy's an Obama
for sure.
guy.
People are very sensitive, and
I have an Obama painting.
if you and if you don't agree with them, it's hard to actually like have a conversation or a debate without it getting personal and heated.
Well,
True.
It's kind of interesting because like Joe Manchin's been making the rounds, and he's obviously, you know, that former Democratic senator who was very much in the middle on everything. He's always playing the middle, but he made a good point in that like the middle decided this election, because there's the people who were very entrenched on the left, the people who are very entrenched on the right, and then there's the people in the middle who basically switch depending on how they feel.
Yeah.
I have tons of opinions on
Yeah,
this.
I don't know. I think
We're not. Someone will talk about the pub, and I'll talk to you after.
yeah, I think it's okay to be in the middle. I feel like sometimes people will shit on you if you're in the middle. Not saying I necessarily am, but then too, it's like, well, yeah, those are the people you got to target, because the other people, realistically, like, they're voting for you.
They're not changing their minds.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just, politics are just weird. It's just super weird. The thing that I think's weird about politics is it's something that just comes up when elections come around. Like, the politics are always going on, but the average person, like Kamala Trump, this was going on for the past like year and a half.
Camilla?
Trump.
It's actually Kamala.
Oh, I thought you were saying like that was her name, and I was like, no, they're two different people.
I did see a really good AI photo of her pregnant with Trump, like holding her.
Like those like prom.
Yeah,
photos.
and I was like, this is the greatest photo ever existed.
No, this is the problem.
love
Like,
AI.
dude, what do we do in a world where someone can make a photorealistic picture of Donald Trump holding a pregnant Kamala? No, but like, it's just weird because the politics of like things that are affected by what happens obviously are ongoing, but no one cares. And then all of a sudden it gets close to the elections and people start caring so much, and then it fades out. So it's kind of this weird thing where you're like, yeah, around every 4 years, you know, everyone's going to get turned up.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. And then everyone, like, some people stay turned, but most people, like, go back to doing their lives. And then it's like the wave passes. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's about a year till the election. We'll start hearing it. It, like, comes up again. Everyone's turned up and it goes down. So
Well,
it's just
speaking to
weird.
that, in terms of people actually being plugged into what's going on, one of the top searches on election day, and I don't know if you saw this, in Google was, did Joe Biden drop out of the election? It's like, what?
Even I knew that.
This podcast was brought to you by Wee Wees.
Wee-wees. The diapers for adults that have little wee-wees. Not their penises, the pee that comes out.
The she. Well, you guys seen that real quick? I gotta go off a tangent. You guys heard of the Shiwi?
I've used a Shiwi.
What's the What's that? Wait,
They
fill
have
me in.
them. So they're little, like, kind of like balls that you, like, put on your downstairs, and they have, like, a tube that goes out. So you put it on, and then you, like, pee like a dude.
Is it
You
good?
just stand up and pee like a dude.
Now that's a sponsor that this podcast needs.
Hey, what's Shiwis called?
Shiwis.
Shiwis, please hit us up, the unofficial sponsor, hoping to become the official sponsor. All right, and
That's a
we're
good
back. Let's just go right back into that. Let's talk about Argentina
Sure.
and
And the meat.
And the meat. Underrated. Underrated globally in terms of the
Yeah.
best meat in the world.
It's it's the beef specifically, right? Or is it
Yeah,
all of it?
I mean they take care of all their meat, but the beef specifically, you're right. It's one of those differences that you could even have like a McDonald's burger the day before you leave for your trip, and then have that same burger in Argentina, and you would notice an absolute difference in quality of the beef. Like,
No
that's-
way.
And I used to be quite the McDonald's connoisseur, so
I'll send you the documentary.
So I guess that makes sense, because no matter where you're getting your McDonald's from, it is local beef, I'd assume, right?
yeah. Like the McDonald's we here, I guess, would all be Alberta beef.
So it's not that bad then?
It tastes better than American McDonald's. I don't know if you guys have
It
ever
does.
had
Like
American.
we don't have bad beef here. It's not even like, yeah, I'm trying to say that we have bad beef. It's just like if ours is like a B class, then Argentina's like A or S. Like, it's just like step above.
I thought Argentina was like triple A or quad A or something. Like it was so
I
much.
think
Well, everyone has like different like standards that they call things, right?
I think it's between them and Japan. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Wagyu?
Japan.
No, Kobe.
The Kobe.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, like
Oh,
it's
yeah,
interchangeable. Like Wagyu.
It's like champagne. You call it sparkling wine.
Yeah.
Like Wagyu is the sparkling wine to
Kobe is
champagne.
the
Right.
Wagyu made in like the Kobe prefecture.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so that Wagyu Kobe, that is from there, that prefecture, like you said. But at this point in the world we live in, can you get air quotes Kobe beef? I know it's not literally
No,
from
okay.
there.
I actually know this answer.
Yeah.
I know this answer. So you can have Wagyu. Places in the world now can buy Wagyu cattle, and you can raise Wagyu. You can have like American Wagyu. You can have Canadian Wagyu. You can have British Wagyu. But Kobe Wagyu is specifically bred in the Kobe prefecture,
Yeah.
and they have specific standards to make it Kobe beef.
Okay.
And it's literally in that one area of Japan to make that Kobe Wagyu. And that is like the most valuable beef in the world. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe I that's what I know as well.
Yeah, so I think that makes sense then because yeah, like Kobe. So I guess you could say Kobe Wagyu. Kobe is the prefecture where you specifically get that meat from. Wagyu you can find anywhere, but its origin came from Kobe.
It's a specific
Yeah.
cattle. It's a specific cattle. But the reason why you can't get the same replication of the Kobe beef is just the way that they feed and the way that they raise the cattle in that area, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when you export that type of cattle, you have to crossbreed. Because it's not like they're going to give you all the cattle from Kobe, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to get like one or two, but you can't just kill the one or butcher 1 and 2 cows. You're going to have to start
Yeah.
crossbreeding those cows.
Right.
So then you get American Wagyu. Then you get British Wagyu.
And usually when you look at the marbling, like the fat inlay and the meat, like that's when you can see the difference between Wagyu and regular beef.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, well, Black and Blue tomorrow, you can ask them to show you, and they come out with every cut of meat
Yeah.
to show you all the marblings on them. And I've only been to Black and Blue once, but I was just like,
So I'll put it this way. We have, I'm not going to say what it is, but we have a spend that we have to, a spend limit we have to hit. So we have a set menu, but we calculated it and we're still short. So like, you can go off the menu, but like, relax, please, because I'm paying.
I'm sure the booze will like somewhat.
Yeah.
When I was in
Yeah.
I was in Detroit, I went to a couple steakhouses because it was for like a union trip, and they were paying for everything. And some of the butchers they had, like, you can go downstairs and it's just glass walls, and you see their whole butcher setup, and it was some of the most impressive meat I've seen. Too.
That's
It's
so
pretty
cool.
Do you know, I think the best like steak I've ever had, I went to an Argentinian steakhouse
Hell yeah.
in Portugal,
Okay.
of all places.
Yeah.
what the fuck? No, sorry.
And it was so good. We were only in Portugal for like a week, maybe 2 weeks, and we went to this steakhouse like 3 or 4 times because it was so freaking, like, the dude was straight out of Argentina.
Yeah.
I don't know if you, like, I was younger, so I can't remember if he got his meat, but whatever he did, it was fantastic. And like every single cut of meat that we had, I had like veal while I was there as well. That was just
Veal's
stunning.
really popular. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was honestly, I think, the best meat I've ever had in my life.
What's your
Sorry, Derek.
favorite cut of steak?
Sorry,
I'm
what was the
partial.
question?
What's your favorite cut of steak?
I used to be a fillet.
Okay.
Now I'm quite into, it's called different things, but it's
New
the
York
Brazilian
entrecôte.
Picanha.
Picanha, that's the one.
What's
yeah.
your favorite?
I'm a ribeye guy. Yeah, ribeyes are. I mean, just the amount of fat you have on that cut. Is
Yeah,
just
I do.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Do love the fat.
I mean, like, so in Argentina, they do. They have a special way they cook it. It's called asado, but it roughly translates to barbecue. But essentially, they have a special grill called the Parisha grill, where you can raise and lower the grates.
Okay.
Over
cool.
hot coals. So you have a fire on the side and you'll kind of sweep the coals underneath. So typically you're actually cooking your meat like pretty slowly, depending on how high the grates are up and down. And so meat gets cooked like slowly over time, and it's got like a lot of salt
Beautiful.
on it. And the way they cook their meat too is also like a really special way. But to be fair, if you go to like Uruguay, like they'll cook it pretty similarly too. And Uruguay has really good beef. Brazil's a bit different.
Is that what was the barbecue you were talking, or the cook pit you wanted to make?
Parrilla.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
So that's what I want to make. And then like if you have an asado in Argentina, it's like an event. It's like essentially, you know, could even be like all afternoon or like 5-6 hours. But there's a guy on the grill, and he's known as the asador, and he's just making food, and everyone's drinking wine.
What a G! That guy's
Everyone's
such a
drinking
G.
wine, and he's just bringing out like, oh, here's some like chorizo on baguette. It's called choripan with like chimichurri sauce, and then like, oh, here's some different meats. You know, here's a grilled pepper with egg in the middle.
Oh, we live in the wrong country.
They have they put like a cast iron skillet on the parrilla, and then they'll put provolone cheese on, and they'll get really crispy on either side, and then they'll slice that up, and it's called provoleta.
Yeah,
and it's really, really good. So like, my goal is to do an asado for you guys, but I want to do like a traditional asado. It's harder to do because the traditional grill, like a barbecue we have here, with propane, the heat gets it's too hot.
Yeah,
you can't do things slow.
I've tried on. So I used to have I think you've seen my my new barbecue that I have, my portable one. It's like a big silver one, but I used to have this little green
shitty fucking hated.
It was a charcoal little tin one.
Green egg or no?
No. It was
it looked like a mini.
no.
It looked like a mini tray.
No, it was.
Basically.
Yeah, it was basically.
Was it
like
George Foreman?
It was basically
beat the fat out.
But it had like the whole thing. You could charcoal slow grill with it, and Neve hated it because I would use it for like camping, and it'd take forever to cook anything on the charcoal. But I was able to make such good meat because you could cook it for so long. And that's the thing that since I've left charcoal, I've missed, is that ability to actually have this super low heat and cook things. It's so hard on propane.
See, I haven't missed the charcoal because the amount of times you did that compared to the amount of times that we woke up in the morning after like a heavy night of drinking and all I wanted was bacon and it took him like 5 hours to make.
Go slow and slow, baby.
What's your favorite cut
I
of
was
meat?
so angry.
My favorite?
Steak, sorry.
Well, I don't know. Okay, to be honest with you, there's, as of recently, the one that gets my mouth watering is when we were at Elliot's Bachelor, the flank steak, and then you guys got Roger marinated it. And then I like the idea of just like, because I personally, I don't really like super red. Like, I've gone to medium now, but I used to be a well done steak guy until I met Neve.
I love medium
Changed them for the better.
So I liked the flank steak because it was flavorful and you had the red, but it was thin slices. But I'd have to say, like, traditionally overall, if I'm just getting a steak, it's probably filet mignon.
Yeah. So Roger's flank.
Yeah.
The marinade he did is really, really good. I gotta show you. I have a similar one, except it's an Argentinian marinade, but then it's topped with the chimichurri.
Oh,
and like it's a homemade chimichurri. It's quite. I've made it before.
Dude,
It's
what
really
was
good.
that? What did you call what we did? It was just like, it was flank steak, chicken thighs, skewers, and
Oh, that was just a mixed grill that we did.
mixed grill. That was so good. I
good,
tried
though.
to do that, but I salted
Honestly,
everything too much.
if I ever get married, instead of having a cake, I just want like a fuck ton of meat.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, that's what we're
I'm
gonna
not
do in
really-
Hawaii. I have a plan.
Yes.
So mine is a
You guys
flat
do-
iron.
You do a
Flat
pig
iron
roast?
steak.
Because Hawaii's
Oh,
famous
fuck,
for
yeah,
their
pig
pig
roast.
roast, no?
I know it is famous for that.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to figure out like what we're gonna. Well, Sarah's kind of taking head point on it, so maybe talk to her.
Yeah.
But I
That's
know
fair.
after the actual wedding itself,
Mm-hmm.
my plan is because we have a pretty
We have
not
a
pretty.
huge-
We have a really nice place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to do like a huge barbecue.
Love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would
that's
be
what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, the place we're at there's 12 of us. Is that
We
right?
should have just got married in that backyard. To be honest,
I mean,
with you.
yeah, but
Could've,
yeah,
yeah.
fair
It's
enough.
for
Yeah.
legality reasons. It has to.
we did it here.
Yeah.
But we're doing an actual wedding
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah.
like, the more I thought about it, and like, I looked at the place and the backdrop.
It's
I'm like,
stunning.
we should have just did it in the
Have
backdrop.
you guys ever had pig's head?
Ah,
The roasted
I'm
pig's
fucking
head?
Filipino, bro.
Yeah, with the cheeks and like
Oh yeah.
That shit's good.
I haven't had a pig's head, but every Boxing Day, my friend's parents, who the dad used to be a chef, he would do a full pig roast.
We had it
like
at
hog roast.
we had it at my engagement party.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, we did.
Yeah,
That was so good.
yeah, we had a literal
I don't know,
roast
man.
pig at
I
my
was so
kitchen
drunk. I
party.
don't remember that.
I honestly, I would gladly choke out a pig and then skewer it and cook it over a fire.
My
just want
favorite
to throw
is
that
the
out
crispy
there.
Seriously,
skin.
I would just DDT if I could.
For me, Jack, like, I've only ever had it twice in my life. Once actually barbecued for me,
Yeah.
or made for me, and then grilled for me, and then once at a Christmas party. But a flat iron steak for me, oh my god!
What's a flat iron steak?
I don't even know. I just know that it tasted. Both times I've had it, it tasted consistent, and it's tasted so good.
Is it like a flank steak? Like is the flank steak like the butt cheek?
The flank is on the hind quarter, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it looks like a butt cheek, like coming across, and I was like,
Yeah, like it's
I
kind
want
of because like
that.
flank you definitely want to marinate, but then if you get skirt, you can sometimes cook
Skirt
that
is beautiful,
regularly,
yeah.
The other one I love doing is if you slice short ribs really thin and you can do them like Maui rib style. So good.
Yeah,
okay,
fucks with it.
what was that thing you made when we were hanging out at your place?
Oh, short rib. I did like short rib
my
sandwiches.
God, dude.
Yeah, that was really good.
It was so good.
But I slow cooked the short rib, obviously, and then I made like a coleslaw with it, and then it was really just like a bun, mayo.
It's perfect.
Short rib with the barbecue sauce, a little extra barbecue sauce, and then coleslaw, and that was that. And we didn't have enough coleslaw and buns, so we just sat.
We were just
To be fair, we were on mushrooms.
yeah,
but
we need some mushrooms.
we just like stood at the stove with a fork, and we're just eating it out of the pot. It was so good.
I
And then
honestly,
Matt showed up.
Yeah, the
I
Matt
think-
showed up.
I think
Damn you,
ribs
Matt.
are so underrated.
My
Yeah.
ribs.
Oh, sure
Ribs,
is,
just
Matt.
like rib
In
meat.
general.
Oh my
Ribs.
god,
So
dude! The ribs
underrated.
that I had last Friday, the St. Louis ones, but
were they
they're
good?
beef ribs. I don't get ribs often, but for some reason we went to that barbecue place. I'm like, I'm gonna get ribs.
I used to do this thing where when I was
That was such good barbecue.
when I was single, I would go on these dates, and I would just order ribs. And I'd be wearing like a white shirt, and it was always the worst idea, and yet I would keep doing it. I just never learned my lesson. But they're so good.
Did you have ribs on your first date with your fiance?
With Ola, no.
But-
So Ola, for the listeners here, just a little fun
I
fact.
want to talk about Ola.
Yeah, so Ola and I started dating in high school. Obviously I'm 33, so that sounds like a long time ago. But then we actually broke up because I'm a bit of a bozo. And then she went to
Boo.
she went to Europe, and that's where she studied to become a doctor. And she came back, happened to be single, so we lit things up again. But one thing I always say
Lit it up.
is that, to be honest, like I broke up with her because I was young. I was like, oh, I want to be single. Fuck yeah, boys.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, like, let's say I had stayed with her, the maturity level that I had, I would
Yeah,
have completely
different
ruined the
person.
relationship.
Yeah.
We probably wouldn't be together now.
100%.
So, like, I'm kind of glad she missed my piece of shit.
Yeah,
face.
I mean, there's
and
no
you
such thing
are,
as.
or were,
Yeah.
still are. a piece
Dude,
of shit.
when Derek first met me, or not first met me, we rekindled our friendship.
Yes.
Over being pieces of shit.
No, I was a grade A.
I was always garbage.
We would go out every weekend, like literally every weekend.
We would just drink so much whiskey.
It's,
We Dax it. So I used to have to, if I shoot whiskey, I used to have to shoot it with Coke Chaser.
Yeah.
The sports drink Coca-Cola, just to be clear. and
You mean the fizzy drink?
no, the sports drink.
The sports drink.
Coca-Cola.
You know when you're drinking a can of Coke after a soccer game
Yeah.
to replenish your electrolytes?
Electrolytes. No, he kept calling me where did we go? What was it called?
We would go to Brew Hall.
The Brew
Yeah,
Hall
we went to the
downtown.
Brew Hall.
And every time they would Dash would be like, 2 shots of whiskey, and I'd be like, I need a chaser. And so Dash was like, what a bitch. And then the bartender's like, yeah, you are a bitch. And then it happened so many times that I would go into Brew Hall with him, and they'd be like, oh, it's the bitch that can't take his whiskey without a Coke. And I'd literally be doing it.
The hottest bartender. Like,
Dude, I'd be like this. I'd be like, yo, I'm a paid customer, man. Like, this is whack.
You know where I was just in Europe. and
Yeah, I want to talk about Europe. I was just about to bring that up. So where did you go in Europe?
So I was gonna say we started off in Munich for Oktoberfest,
Awesome.
which is amazing because you can just sit down at a table and everyone there, like they could all be locals. Sometimes you sit at a different table and it's also all travelers, but regardless of who it was, they just wanted to get to know you and talk to you.
That was cool.
But meanwhile, you're having these like, 1 liter beers brought to you. They're just obliterating you. Because you next thing you know, you stand up, you're like, oh, okay, I'm pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the food there also was really, really good.
Did you get the pork hock?
I didn't. I got like it was like
that's the
a liver sandwich where it was like it was something apparently that's like a local thing, but it was like it looked almost like a meatloaf, but it was liver.
Okay.
And then it had like I loved it. It was really good. It was like it had like crispy onions, but it had like a spicy mustard, and then some
That makes
sauerkraut
sense.
on
Liver
it.
and onions.
Yeah, and it was freaking amazing.
Yeah, how did you find the people in Munich?
I thought everyone was pretty friendly. I thought it was kind of interesting because I started off in Germany, where I thought people were pretty friendly. Went to Italy, where I thought it was very much less so.
Really?
Yeah,
Is
and
that
then
a nice way of saying they were not friendly?
no, they were dicks. And then we went to
Steve
Poland.
said that before. Steve
Yeah,
said that
Steve.
like
Yeah.
Italy's a huge dicks.
And then went to Poland, and Poland everyone was nice.
Do you know what I think it is?
Cool.
Because I've had really good experiences in Italy. I think it's because they can't tell if you're American or Canadian. So they think you're American, so they probably treat you like trash.
To be fair, I should clarify. Like no one treated me poorly. Like no one was like a dick to me.
Yeah.
It was more that like their level of hospitality is a little different. I feel like a waiter could walk up to you and just be like really coy with you for 5 minutes.
Oh,
and
it
you're like,
sounds
I'd
like
like to
England.
order my food, please.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
See, what I found when I went to Munich that everything felt so like regimented. Like nobody wants to have a conversation with you. Like it's all just very straight faced. Like I don't think the whole time I was there I saw anyone smile.
I think in the tents it's different.
Right.
Because it's the 2 weeks of the
It's
year or
the
whatever it is
festival
where
and
like
It's
people
the 2 weeks of the year where they're happy.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, because like I was meeting people that were like, oh yeah, like I just finished work, I work tomorrow, I'm just gonna come here, I'm gonna get fucked up, I'm gonna go back to work.
That's wild.
And then right, like can you imagine like us like partying so hard on a Wednesday? But then again, it's only for like such a short period. But you're right. When I was like, honestly, when I was out and about, like nothing else was like really like particularly that impressive. And Germany is very expensive. I found that Italy was cheaper and Poland was a lot cheaper.
The Germans?
Yeah.
I don't know. The Germans are
The
like-
Germans?
The
Germans?
I feel like the Germans are
Deutschland.
very like they're very efficient.
Yeah.
And then there's the Dutch, who they're like an off-brand of German that aren't as efficient, but kind of try to be.
Well, tell that to the Dutch.
No, honestly,
Like Paul.
I find Dutch people so interesting though.
love
Like
it.
any Dutch people that are in like the celebrity or popular limelight, they're such interesting people.
So there was this one when I worked at
are they?
Cactus Cole Harbor. There was this one girl I worked with who was from the Netherlands, and she was very, very beautiful. And
What was her name?
classic.
her name was Laura, and everyone wanted to get involved, right? Anyways, I added her on Instagram like back then, right? Not thinking about it. And then she went back and everything. And then, like, next thing I know, I'm looking at my Instagram, and she's, like, married to Davy Klaassen, the
Whoa.
professional soccer player.
What?
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, yeah, she was pretty fucking hot. Like,
Damn.
that checks out. Like,
You text her, you're like, yo, what's up? You're
I have a similar story to this. I had a buddy that I worked with 3 jobs ago, and he, objectively speaking, is a very, very, very good looking guy.
yeah.
I'm confident enough to say that. Hey, you don't say that.
Don't say those words.
We went out for lunch one time, and he brought a friend, and this girl was just objectively just gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how do you know her? Like, oh, when I was going to school in England, she was there dating some guy, and I'm like, who is she dating? Like, oh, his name is Andre Schurrle. I'm like, what?
What?
And you Google it when he won the World Cup with Germany and Brazil, and it's her. And I'm like, oh wow, like
Okay.
trippy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just pull this up here.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
I just see this girl.
Tap in.
All right, I'm going to give the play-by-play here. Derek has pulled out his phone. One hand is on the phone. One is down his pants. Okay. Neve looks
He's
like
a very
she's not very
good-looking
happy
guy.
about this.
Wait, where's
No,
Shirley
no,
is
this-
he's a good looking
Andre
dude.
Shirley is good looking. Good
He's
looking
He
dude.
never really fulfilled his potential,
Type in
though. I would
Andre
say.
Shirley World Cup girlfriend.
Okay, there you go. That's the missing.
You need to put girlfriend. In
Well,
there.
if we're googling stuff on a podcast where no one can see what we're googling,
Whoa.
there's better things to Google.
Whoa. That's actually my claim to fame now.
What?
Is that Dax knows?
Dax met a guy that was dating Andre.
Yeah. So it's funny. So I met her, and you know those people that you meet sometimes that are like
smoking hot.
a little
Okay,
too good
Derek,
for
turn
you.
it down.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's the vibe I got. And I'm like, oh, I wonder why. And then you like, I don't know who. I didn't follow soccer back then, right?
Yes,
I look it up. I'm like, oh, it makes sense. Like this is like the
He
type
played
of people.
for Chelsea for quite a while. Too,
Yeah.
So I had for a while a joke. My claim to fame was this is when I was in massage school. I met this chick, sorry,
It's actually
no,
women.
I shouldn't say chick. I was going
Earmuffs, Neve.
I was going to school with this chick. Woman, pardon. So I was going to school with this woman, and she was a classmate, and she was married, and I want to say she was like, so I was 21 when I went to massage school. I want to say she was like 33, 34.
What an old
And-
bitch.
And she had like,
Woman.
she,
Sorry, what an old woman.
And she had like, she was like telling us one night, she's like, yeah, between like school and life, like this is my first night out in a long time. So they had gone out and they saw Ryan Kessler at the bar, and Kessler went up to her
course.
and was like hitting on her, and she's like, can't you see the ring on my finger? Like I'm married. And he's like, so am I. And so like he tried to hook up with her. And so
That's pretty classic Kessler, though.
It's
to be
funny
fair.
that you bring this up now. I also found out that. Do you remember the girl that I know that was on Big Brother?
yes.
Yeah, what do I say?
She was trying to be so subtle.
I don't want
about
to say
that.
names.
Oh, sorry.
We're gonna beep that later.
We'll
Yeah.
beep that out.
I'll tell you the story.
Tap-
I'll tell you.
tap beep
Oh
that
yeah,
out.
yeah. Tap beep that
Beep
out.
out.
Beep that out.
I got in a road race with Kessler in my 1991 Toyota Tercel.
Did you win?
You won.
Yeah, I did not. No.
Oh, what?
But
Not.
I was driving down Hastings, and this guy rips up next to me, and it's Kessler, and I'm like looking at him, I'm like, hey, whoa, this is really cool. And then he's like mean mugging me, and then he starts revving, and I'm like, do you see what I'm driving? Like, and then he just starts ripping. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna rip. So then I tried to keep up with him, but there was no way.
You know what he probably thought? He just finished his NHL hockey game and he's making all his money.
NHL hockey
rips
game?
off and he's like, fucking bitch.
But you know what? Like, there's so many. From when I was in the hospitality industry, there's so many stories about Kessler being kind of like a dick.
Yeah.
But then, so I always like liked him, but then didn't like him. But then if you guys ever listened to when he used to have that podcast with Bieksa,
Yeah.
Bieksa would just fucking shit on him all day, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. Like,
Yeah, I mean, first off, I don't think all hockey players are greaseballs, but I think hockey has an underlying like greasy thing. So like there's the Brian Kessler's our thing.
I don't think it's just hockey, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think it's just sports.
Okay,
in-
fair.
I think yes, it is sports in general, but I think hockey has a special place in Canada where you basically have one, it's put on a pedestal, and then
okay.
two, you have these like hockey moms and dads that are basically like building up their kid, telling them they're the most special little fucking snowflake
Counter.
ever, and then they go the rest of their life being like, oh yeah, I am the shit,
Yeah.
but like they're not.
Counter though, it's
Yeah.
similar to football and baseball in America.
Well, the difference is, and here's my counter to that. I'm gonna squeeze one on you right here. Is that
You're not allowed to.
football in America and baseball in America, you do still get like the poor community contributing, whereas in hockey, it's very much only the elite community that can afford to get ice time and sticks and gear and
Yeah,
pads
true.
and all
Yeah,
that.
fair.
So that's the main difference. Yeah.
Can I tell you my claim to fame?
Yeah, go.
I served Sandra O iced oat matcha latte
Where?
when I worked at Delaney's in the
What?
Valley. Yeah, Sandra. So
From ER.
Sandra O.
ER from Sandra.
From,
oh,
from
ER.
Grey's
Grey's
Anatomy, Killing Eve, like
Was she in
Sandra
ER
O.
too, or is
She's
this-
Canadian.
That's
She's Canadian, and she has family in Lynn Valley.
Oh,
Fun facts. And I
Wow.
served her
Wow.
iced oat matcha latte. That's what Sandra O drinks. If any fangirls are wondering.
That's I have a story.
There. That's a pretty cool one.
That's a good
Come
one.
on.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Neve, I just want to go on the record and say it's the best story I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Michael Bublé once came into the restaurant I was working at, and there was like a massive line, and he like went to the front and asked for a table, and they're like, "Well, all the tables are taken," and he said, "Do you know who I am?" And I really wanted the hostess just to be like,
No.
"Okay, so you're Michael Bublé. Would you like me to walk up to someone and kick them out of their table? Like what do you think's gonna happen?"
Slap their food.
I have a
away.
similar
Yeah.
do I know who I am story.
Yeah.
So my second year university, we're in line for a club in Kelowna, and we're like
The club in Kelowna.
a club. We're like two or three from the front, and lo and behold, the person who tries to skip the line is none other than Evander Kane.
Oh, of course it's a
And-
100%.
He goes right up to the bouncer, and the bouncer won't let him cut. And he goes, "You know who I am?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't care." And I was like, "Oh, good for you, man."
Yeah.
Because
That's
Evander
awesome.
Kane was notorious for going to the Roxy and getting in fights. And I just remember there was this one guy I
Hockey
worked
guy?
with who was this massive dude, like huge dude, worked out, fought like part-time, kind of like was like into that. And Evander Kane tried to fight him. And you think like, sure, this guy's big and like, yeah, he's like not professional fighter, but he fights. But like Evander Kane's a professional athlete. He should beat him. But no, this guy beat up Evander Kane. So
Really?
like, yeah, it just goes to show that sometimes size, I do think weight does like, because if you know how to fight, I think you can make weight. a
Oh,
big
for
difference.
sure, dude.
Which is why I think
That's been,
sometimes like,
Yeah,
anyone's
yeah.
ass,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes some of these fights when they're like these show fights between like YouTubers and like, they're like, yeah, I'm going to fight a guy who's like 30 pounds less than me. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah, no, like for sure, like weight factors in just strictly in striking. Like if you're bigger and you throw a huge thing at some smaller dude and you clock them,
Especially if you have like the reach.
yeah, like you can like I think like you have more like ability to knock them out just because they're small and you're bigger. But definitely as soon as you bring technique into it, like the technical small guy could just shit kick a bigger guy.
Yeah,
Easy.
I think
the
so.
big guy doesn't-
if there's no level,
yeah,
if there's no level
levels to
skill.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Oh, dude, I'm so heartbroken, man.
Yeah.
Because I love Mike. Like,
Yeah.
he's kind of a piece of shit human being in the past.
Yeah.
I tried to atone for it, and I think he's done a decent job.
Mike
you're
Tyson Murder Mysteries, I think made up for it.
Oh, amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing. But, like, in my opinion, Mike Tyson is a literal senior citizen.
Yeah.
And I think Mike Tyson is one of the I don't even think it's like an estimation. He's literally one of the hardest hitters of all time. And in his prime, same age as Jake Paul, it wouldn't even be a contest.
No.
But people that are going like, oh, it's Mike Tyson, Jake Paul's going to get his ass kicked. I'm like, guys, it's a fucking senior citizen fighting in his prime. And Jake Paul, like, for as good or as bad as you think he is, he trains every single day
Dude,
professionally.
And I get why
He's
Jake
huge.
Paul says these things, but when he says things like, you know, once I beat Mike, like, I'll prove them the best in the world, it's like, what are you talking
He's a
about?
senior
You
citizen.
clown.
Yeah.
He's a
well,
senior citizen.
I say that 10 years ago, though, or whatever it was, when it was the Tyson McGregor.
That's Floyd.
Floyd McGregor.
Floyd.
Oh.
Yeah. That's Floyd
I just
Mayweather.
came off as a massive racist.
Yeah.
But no, but
Floyd-
Floyd Mayweather
Floyd was bad, too.
also fought Logan Paul too, so he
No,
probably
he fought. Oh yeah, you're right.
it was Logan that
Yeah,
time,
Logan,
yeah,
Logan,
because they're somewhat interchangeable.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's the doc about Logan Paul, the like, what's it called? The one that's on Netflix. They always do sports doc, and they have a.
Oh, 30 for 30?
No, I can't remember the name, but they're all over. But there's one on Jake Paul and his boxing, and if you watch it, Untold, yeah. The main thing is it's just all money. Like, like he obviously, I think he himself, Jake, thinks he's a boxer, and he is. Like, by my standard, he could kick my ass. I don't know anything about boxing either, but like the main underlying thing I felt that was going through the story is they're just making a fuckload of money, because money, like, it's not about excuse me, it's not about how good Jake Paul is as a fighter. It's if Jake Paul fights Mike Tyson and it brings in a ton of money, that like makes it a good fight, period. Right? Like, that's actually all that matters. So if anyone that's sitting there being like, first off, I think it is fucked up, the fact that he's fighting an old dude, period. Because, like, I don't know, like, Mike Tyson could be doing the whole thing and just get clocked once with a jab at 61 years old, and that fucks him up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the underlying of just everything is they're just like generating a fuckload of money.
Yeah,
through the fight,
and the
that's all
hype
they
that
care
they're
about.
putting
Yeah.
behind it as well. Like they've got this countdown on Netflix at the moment, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I don't care.
Well, we are gonna watch that together.
Yeah.
But also, like, Mike saying things like, "Oh yeah, I want to die in the ring." I'm like, wait, what? Like, you shouldn't be saying that stuff like right before a fight. Man.
And the thing that scares me with like Mike at his age is even if he falls over, like if he gets
Can
knocked,
he get back up? That's the question.
The thing is, like, I feel like people that when they watch the videos of him training, they see how impressive his training is at 61, and it is impressive.
For a
but
61-year-old.
But it's more just if he gets hit. That's the real thing. That's because like boxing isn't like MMA. Boxing is you just the target is the other guy's head and like body.
What Mike needs to do is that YouTube video where the old guy's getting robbed and he's like, "Oh, call an ambulance! I'm having a heart attack for you," and then he pulls out the gun. Like that's essentially what he needs to do.
Every the commentators like, is he dying? Oh, he pulled a gun on him. A brilliant jab.
That's like a WWE move. Oh no, WWE wouldn't.
Okay, can we talk
you
about
sure
some
they wouldn't?
WWE?
Yeah, I'd love talking. about
Oh, guys,
So,
I'm so happy. I'm so happy because I've told Derek for years I've not watched WWE religiously, but I've always followed it.
it. Yeah.
So I stopped religiously following WWE in like 2006, like grade 10, and I was like, come on. My dad was basically like, you can't be watching this around.
You're not my son.
But then I've always like gone on Wikipedia and like followed the storylines and like kind of just been like the background guy. And then as soon as all you guys thought it was cool again, I was like, oh yeah.
Well, like I
It's
watched
true, it's true.
I watched it all throughout high school. I was a huge fan, as was my twin brother, and we both joined the wrestling team in grade 8 because of it. And we wrestled for 5 years in high school because, and Alex in university because of WWE. But then, yeah, I guess like after high school, I guess it did fade a bit. But once I started getting back into it, I'm like, oh, right, yeah, this is awesome. Like, I remember why I love this so much.
What does your fiance think about it?
Oh, she thinks it's really dumb. For sure. She doesn't get it at all.
Okay, I
But,
was...
but sorry to interrupt, but like, to be fair, she'll then sit there and watch like Love is Blind or some stupid show, and I'm like, all right, well, like we both have things that.
Beeb's like, I like both those things. And everyone's been like,
Agreed.
Fuck Pile Island.
no, but...
So here's the thing, right? For me personally, like I didn't follow WWE in high school because I was too young. Because I'm a lot younger than you guys. But I had...
Just keeps bringing it up.
Fucking bitch. I had a friend of my mom's who had a son who was older than me, and he would we'd play the WWE game, and he'd have the action figures, and we'd go practice moves on the trampoline and all of that jazz. So I was like a little bit into it, but not really. But then when Derek started getting back into it, I started watching it, and what's so fun for me is that I studied performance for a long time, and when I did that, we had modules on stage combat, and that's literally what wrestling is.
Yeah.
It's stage combat, but it's also drama. Like, it's like watching, like, this is in reference to a very English thing, but like EastEnders, which is like a drama TV show. It's on like 3 or 4 days a week, and it's all drama, right? But it's combining that with stage combat, and it's live. Like, that's so fucking cool. Like, that's a real, like, talent in its own. Doesn't matter if it's real or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's still really fucking impressive. These people are actors. They're living this whole lifestyle. They're incredibly athletic, and they make you feel something. Like, they give you this whole character, and that's, like, who they are.
Well, that's what people
so that's what I thought was super cool.
that hate, or not hate, but like look down on WWE.
The like haters.
Yeah, that's what people that don't understand about wrestling is that we're not watching it because we think that we're watching this sporting event. Like, we would watch Liverpool.
Like, that guy got punched in the face really hard.
Yeah.
We're watching it for the spectacle.
It's just entertainment,
and it's just
man.
it does make you feel things.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, well, even today, dude.
You're
like,
rooting for
we
people.
were just catching up on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And what was the match Jay Uso? When Jay Uso was
are you guys on the train?
Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
watching
yes.
now. Like Jey Uso when he comes out.
Yeah.
She first off, Juliet actually she likes
Oh,
Seth
she
Rollins,
eats
she
now.
likes Jey Uso, and she
Yeah.
likes Cody Rhodes. And when Seth or Jey Uso comes out, she starts going like this.
Oh,
and
that's
shit.
so cute.
Yeah,
And,
it's super
I can't
cute.
remember, but one of the matches I was watching it. Oh, it was the main event. It was the Fatal 4-Way between
Right.
Dom, Seth,
Priest and Sheamus.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I remember, like, what's his name? Bronson Reed comes in.
big
And I
Bronson
genuinely thought that Dom was going to win.
And I was kind of rooting
And
for
yeah,
Dom
and I
to
was.
win.
And I was like, yo, I
Yeah.
can't believe it's happening. Dom's
My
going to
boy.
win and get his chance. Like, and I was so excited. And then he does the frog splash on Sheamus. And the ref, it looks like the ref hits 3.
Yeah,
And then
like,
it doesn't
real
happen.
look
And the
like-
announcer's like, no, he didn't win. And I literally was like, oh my God. And then he hits the frog splash after the 619 on Priest. And I actually got out of my seat. Like I was standing up. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, Dom's doing this. And then Priest kicked out.
Yeah.
Does the choke slam. What's
South of Heaven.
South of Heaven.
This is so cool.
and pins him. And I actually like sat down next to me, put my hand on her. I was like,
Yeah, we
Priest
thought
gets his rematch. Like I was so into it.
Well, that's how I felt when,
Yeah.
Jay won. Because remember how I told you in our last WWE pod, I was like, Jay's just never going to win. Like, Braun, like, what's his name? Braun Breaker's just going to be the champ for a long time.
That's what
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah.
And when he kicked out of the spear,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
so when he kicked out of the first splash, I'm like, oh yeah, of course.
It's over,
Uso's
yeah.
going to lose. Whatever. And when he won, I genuinely was like to Sarah, I was like,
Yeah,
That
What
was
the hell?
that match, and then the
expecting it.
rematch were so good.
Yeah,
so
so good.
impressive.
Yeah.
he's so over now.
well,
like,
well-
just so over.
So, Chris Van Vliet had, who just for people who don't know, Chris Van Vliet, I think is probably the best WWE podcast that's not.
I don't even think
That's
it's.
not
I don't
us.
even think it's.
Yeah.
It's like a.
He
Yeah.
always books the biggest guests.
Yeah, but he's
And he
like
asks the same,
no,
like the best question.
no, but
Yeah.
he's the best podcast that isn't someone that's a former WWE star running the podcast.
Yeah.
Like Stone Cold's is pretty freaking good. Anyhow, he had on a actor from The Arrow, and the guy was like chirping wrestling, and Chris just was like, "Well, why do you say that?" And he's like, "Well, it's fake." And he's like, so's acting, like so's a movie.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah, you're on the arrow.
and he's
buddy.
like, he's like, yeah, but like, you already know that what's gonna happen at the end. And he was like, no, I don't. And he's like, yeah, you do. He's like, no, I have no clue what's gonna happen. He's like, it's literally the exact same as going to a movie. You go to the movie and you don't know what's gonna happen. You
you're there
kind of
for
might have an
entertainment.
idea of the good guy is gonna win or whatever, but you don't know what's happening.
I would argue that in movies, the good guy essentially always wins, whereas in WWE, the bad guy sometimes wins.
Yeah.
Which just makes it a bit better.
You literally
the
don't
best.
know. You literally don't know. And
Yeah.
then to talk outside of the athleticism, the storytelling, the wrestling is really, you have to have the wrestling for the storytelling to like be what it's able to do.
Yeah.
But then outside of all of that, it's live.
Yeah.
So it's actual like
Raw.
acting.
Raw is live.
Oh, SmackDown's
SmackDown's
not?
pre-taped.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Oh, okay. Well, still, even regardless, it's there, and it's like if
This
you
is a misinformation podcast, officially.
No. We have never
Never
on this
claimed to have
podcast
facts.
claimed to be factual. We've said
Yeah.
if you have to check
It's a fictional
everything.
podcast.
The Earth is flat.
One thing that I thought was really cool was this past summer, I went to the States to a Renaissance fair.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so
Oh, by the way, that
jealous.
was so
I
cool.
love
That's
It was
cool.
amazing. It was such a good time.
Tell us
I
all about it,
Definitely
please.
would love to go again. But no, the one thing in particular I want to tell you guys about is the tournament where they have the jousting and the sword fighting. Like me and the guys are watching it, and pretty quickly we're like, "This is medieval WWE," because literally everyone has entrance music. They go and they hype the crowd up, and they have they have the bad guys and the good guys, the guys that you want to cheer for, and then there's the ups and downs, and it's all choreographed fighting, and I was like, this is literally medieval WWE.
That's actually
Have
amazing.
you
Yeah.
guys
It
ever been
was so
to
cool.
medieval times?
No, we don't have that
Oh,
here.
What?
We don't have that here.
I've been to so many medieval times.
What are medieval times?
They had one in Toronto. Up until recently, I think it just closed like a few years ago. So medieval times is like, it's like a whole long ass stadium, and it's all sand, and you go and you sit in rows, and it's like dinner and a show, but they serve you like
warm Pepsi and
like one no they serve you like the refillable Pepsis,
No.
but everyone's in like medieval gear and the kids get crowns and they feed you like turkey legs.
Is
And
that
you're
the cable guy?
No.
No, I've seen commercials for this on
And
Spike TV back
I
in
can't
the
believe
day.
you've
What?
never heard of this.
I've never heard
and
of
you
it.
eat like a medieval feast.
Show
You
'em
have
the-
like
yeah.
turkey thighs and like
What's it
potatoes,
called?
medieval
Medieval
I
times.
swear, it's like, have you guys seen the cable guy?
Yes.
Remember
when-
yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
they
what I
have-
think of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and
yeah.
whatever section
Underrated
you're in.
movie.
Oh,
So
underrated.
you're in a section, and your section relates to a color, and that's the color that your knight is wearing.
Yeah.
And then they have all these knights that are on horses, like there's like actual horses, and they're jousting and they're fighting, and there's a
What?
whole ass storyline.
Yeah.
And the
That's
Black Knight's always
amazing.
the bad guy.
That's
Why?
so
Racist.
fucking racist.
But I've been to a ton of like different ones of these. They have them a lot in Europe.
The
So-
Black
So whenever I
Knight.
used to go on
Is
a
it because he always
vacation,
steals from people?
I've been to so many. I've been to the one they
The stolen
have.
horse.
They have one at the Camelot in Vegas.
He was like so earnestly trying to tell us about
Sorry,
this.
sorry,
and we're just
sorry,
not.
keep going, keep going.
Sorry.
I'm so into this.
Keep going,
but
keep going.
I went to one in
Vegas.
Florida.
Oh.
No, I also went to one in Florida, but it was like a pirate theme. So they had a massive pirate ship, and it was the same thing but pirates. And I love like it's like dinner theater.
So
But they're,
Yeah.
they're like jousting and shit. It's so fun.
did Derek tell you? Well, I told him that. Well, I don't know what now because you had your nose surgery and it's gonna be cold outside. But one of my cousins is super into LARPing.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No way.
like
Yeah,
deep
we're
into
gonna
LARPing, and like not LARPing is in the sense of like we're gonna go to a park and play.
Yeah.
He's in like I have his card, and like
Yeah.
they have like stats online of like your
What the
whatever,
fuck?
Yeah, we
and they
were
have
gonna
full
do
on.
that.
And he was like, "You
That'd
guys
be
want to?
so
Do you guys want to
fun.
come and do a LARP?" I'm like, "We don't have any
Yes.
gear." He's like, "No, we have gear for you," and I think it'd be awesome to go and
Hell
then
yeah.
plot about it. If you're down, you can
I
come with
essentially
us.
did this because at the medieval,
Dude, we'll do it. Let's do it.
At the Renaissance Fair, they had like a section where you could basically go inside. You'd pick your weapon. I had like a mace and a shield, and then once you're in the battlegrounds, you're fighting people, and there's refs everywhere. And they had rules for like where you got hit with certain damage and et cetera, et cetera.
That's
And
so
I gotta be
cool.
honest, I got absolutely dummied.
Yeah,
That's what I think it'd be.
fun,
so
though.
some dudes that practice.
They just know
that.
what they're doing.
Well,
But,
that's what I
like,
think it'd be so fun.
Go to
Like,
soccer practice. They go to club and shield.
Well,
practice.
first thing that happens, I show up as a guy who has like a pike, and I'm like, oh, your range is so much better. And you just like stabbing at me. I'm like, fuck.
I actually think that, like, I know this is going to be a weird thing to say, but I actually think the hardest thing to defend is when someone tries to, like, stab at you this way. Because, like, think of
Yeah.
it. Like, just, I don't know. I don't know anything about combat, but, like, anytime I've ever done anything where we're, like, fighting with sticks or swords or anything, if someone, like, slashes at you, you kind of, like, put your thing up, but what do you do if they stab you? You're like,
You have to jump back.
yeah,
I
if you have,
guess.
like,
But it's really
Yeah,
funny. Do
yeah.
you guys know Justin Kaiser?
yes.
no.
So he was fucking hammered and he died. Like the ref was like, "You're dead," and he just kept fighting. And like, no matter how many times someone killed him, he just
That
kept
sounds
fighting.
like a
It was
berserker.
so fucking funny because we all were like, "Once you're dead, you lay on the ground, right?" So I'm like on the ground, I'm like, "You're dead, dude. You're dead." He's like, "I don't care." And he's like,
Stop
he keeps
it.
fighting.
The
Did he get
LARPers, they're
kicked
like,
out?
what do we do? He's breaking
Get out of
the
here!
rules."
Get out of here!
But the refs, like, all the people that tried to stop him, they refuse to break the rules. So as he slashes
Yeah.
them, they're like, no! Like,
The
they
ref,
have to, like,
yeah, because like, let's be honest, the refs aren't gonna like manhandle anyone.
no.
But there's like a party at the end of each night where like you're underneath a big tent. It's really cool, and they're serving like meat and beer and stuff. And everyone's just getting messed up, and they're just playing like top 40 and like like
good old LARP.
EDM, and like it's really jarring because you're like, oh, like I thought you were gonna play like medieval
Yeah.
music.
Like,
It's just like
I thought
it's
you were
just
gonna play the pan.
yeah, it's just like Kygo and like
But you know, it'd be funny if they played top 40 music in with medieval instruments.
how well that exists
That would be
too.
cool.
So that's the thing. Like there's
It's very
there's
Bridgerton.
accounts out there they could have played, but they play this. And I just remember like Justin and Alex were in rompers and covered in glitter, and everyone else was like I was wearing like a sword, and I had like all this stuff. Everyone's in their stuff, and these two guys are like in the middle of the dance floor, just like covered in glitter, wearing colorful rompers, just like dancing their heart out. And I was like, all right, this is perfect.
Okay, I think in just after hearing this, this first off, actually, now I want to bring this up. Do you know English people don't know what a Renaissance fair is?
It's a renaissance,
no,
actually.
we know what a Renaissance fair is.
It's like everyday life.
Yeah,
But that's
exactly.
just like-
That's
yeah.
just their life. Like,
When
if
I
you-
was-
if you go to England, they're just all doing Renaissance fair.
When I was in
Like,
England, I went to a castle just outside of Coventry because the woman I was dating at the time was from Coventry.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to this castle and they just have this stuff already happening all the time.
Yeah.
It's every weekend. But I just remember I like slated archery and I was kind of like, all right guys, like no big deal. I'm the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then like as we turn the corner from the archery, we see a big sign that says adult archery. And I look back and I'd
You're
slayed
playing
at
kids.
children's archery. I was like 10 yards from the target.
You walk away, you're like, all these
Still
fucking-
counts.
I actually
have to
love
say you-
archery. I'm pretty
give
good
that
at
specific-
archery, yeah. And like I'm good at shooting too, but
Yeah, you
I'm
are good at
really good
shooting.
at archery, yeah.
Okay,
Shooting
so-
is fun.
It's so much fun.
Okay,
It's so fun.
No wonder they don't let us have guns here.
Oh,
I would
full on
be so
addicted.
trigger happy.
I'd be first thing if I had a gun, I'd be like, I bet you can't shoot these bottles out of my hands.
I sent you the photo of what you could buy at like a Sears, right, in America,
yeah,
right?
I know.
That gun that I was holding, like that
Yeah.
big ass like
Freaking
rifle, it was like this big, for like
crazy.
$150.
I wouldn't want that. I would just want a little Glock.
When you watch those videos of like
a little
little
bit.
Glock.
the guys in the States who are like really knowledgeable about guns and they break some of that stuff down, like the guy who broke down like the Trump attempted assassination, and he broke down basically like how it was almost impossible that he didn't die because of like how good the gun was and like the distance. He's like, anyone should have been able to hit him, blah blah blah. I was like, that's crazy to think about.
It is wild that he didn't die.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that is actually
Somebody's
kind
aim
of.
was real off. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not like a crack shot. Like, Neve's a better shot than me, but that doesn't mean I'm a bad shot. And I just don't really understand. Like, I think back in the day, guns were a lot harder to fire.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could.
Yeah.
But now, like, so, like, the guns are so high powered and, like, the scopes and corrections for all this, it seems like almost impossible.
It's like golf. It's like guns. There's golf clubs that you can buy that as bad as you can. There is like a correction that they can make. It's like same thing with guns. It's like you can be a bad aim, but this gun will kind of.
I got real good
I
aim.
feel like
so
I'm
I
like
don't have to worry about
Wario in Mario Golf that he has that super left leaning drive. I just feel like no matter what, I always just
that. Oh,
lean
wow.
left.
lean so hard to left.
Mine's right. Mine just goes right.
Yo,
But like in Mario Golf, you could just aim him towards the trees, and then you knew he would
He was
like
gonna
hit
curve
the
it
right
back.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was visiting my friend in Portland and we went to shoot his gun, he had a revolver. And so we were like, yeah, let's go. First we had to go buy ammo at the gun store. And we went to like Walmart, which also like has, or at that point, and not anymore, they banned the Walmart from, so, shockingly just recently, like in the last like 4 years, they banned Walmart from selling guns.
No, they haven't.
What?
When
pretty
we,
sure-
when, no,
or
when
maybe
we
it's-
went
But you
to
can't
Walmart-
buy a Kinder Surprise.
No, maybe
You can't.
no, maybe it's
not, yeah.
no,
Yeah.
maybe it's a pistol, but there's
Anywhere in America.
there's something to do with like the guns aren't as readily available. Anyhow, we went into this place and there was genuinely a sniper rifle pointed right at me. A guy was holding it, pointing it at me, and I walked in and went like this, like, oh my god. And he was just, it was like unarmed. And he was just like, oh cool, like testing it out, looking down the scope. But it was like it made me literally go like, holy shit, because
At Walmart?
no, at the gun store, because this gun was a sniper like the length of me. It was huge. Anyhow, when we went, so we go in there, we buy our ammo, we go out, we go to like the gun range, and what it is, you just drive off a dirt road and then there's like places to pull up. And I just saw people with like this one dude. It was so fucking weird. He was in full military fatigues and he was just this like fat dude. He wasn't like nerdy dude. He didn't look like a true like military man. And he was doing shit like he had an assault rifle on his car and he would like grab the assault rifle, start shooting at things, and then he'd start walking towards them, get down on one knee, shooting them, drop the rifle, pull out a pistol, roll behind a thing, walk right up over top, like all these different things, just like practicing so hard.
For what?
For like, yeah, clearly what looked like some like unrealistic John Wick scenario. And it's just so fucked that that's like what people are doing.
Counter. I spent like 8 years learning how to, from a hand-to-hand perspective, like
Okay.
really break someone down if I needed to. literally 0 times in those 8 years have I had to use that in the scenario.
Also, that guy's paintball team is number one in the
that's-
States.
I mean, I guess,
different.
dude, but I think it's really different.
Yeah, it's super
you're
different.
getting exercise and you're learning this martial art. This is some weird dude in the backcountry just pretending to shoot stuff.
Yeah, but what if a school shooter situation happens and he just happens to be there?
As the shooter.
I mean,
He's just doing those moves on little kids.
I tend to
Take
go
that,
with
Rudy.
the Jim Jeffries gun control. If you guys have watched
I
that,
haven't heard that, no.
just if you haven't watched just Google or YouTube Jim Jeffries gun control bit. He does like a whole comedy 9-minute set about gun control, and it's basically this conversation but funny.
Way funny.
Speaking of comedy, so Derek's told me that, because Derek and I have always loved comedy, and
Yeah.
I feel like anytime him and I hang out, we just 90% of our conversation is just
Joking
around,
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And even my fiance will be like, sometimes you guys will just sit there and talk, and we'll talk about literally nothing and just joke around the whole time. And then he said that you actually write
You're
comedy.
true comedy.
And so I don't know, how did you get into that? How did you hone it? Have you tried it? I don't know. Answer that bit.
Yeah.
Couple questions.
I guess it's tough to as soon as you bring it up, I'm gonna say nothing that's funny, right? But
Yeah, of course.
but for me, there's a couple things. One, I've gotten into public speaking a lot, and I find it a lot easier to do that when you have some jokes, because it just softens the crowd up a bit. And then 2, I think I've just had to write for. I've been MC for so many weddings, and it's so much easier just to make a bunch of jokes. And then I'm the DM in a D&D campaign for Derek and a few others.
Mhm.
And all my stuff tends to lean a bit more comedy centric. But I guess for me, for writing it, the main thing was I would read about how to write comedy, and then I would just watch other people do stand-up routines or whatever it may be. And I wouldn't take their jokes or anything, but I would be okay, how do they say that? How do they say, because so much of it is how you deliver it. Right?
Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
comedic timing and kind of your presentation of a joke. Right?
And then the other thing is just practicing it. As lame as it is, you just once you write stuff, you have to sit down in front of a mirror and just practice.
Have
it.
you done it in front of a crowd or in front of people before?
I've always wanted to. I've never done it in front of people.
Dude, join our fantasy.
We
Join our
did.
fantasy league, because
Our fantasy comedy league.
one of our challenges eventually I'm going to propose is 10 minutes of stand up.
But then
10
I'd have to
minutes would be
lose.
so-
That's a really roundabout way to I really want to do stand-up comedy, but I want to be absolutely forced to do it.
By a fetish.
Start writing, dude. You got 8 months.
Fuck, I came in second to last. I don't get to do stand-up now.
You got 8 months to write.
Jack, you gotta try harder if you want to do that stand-up. Well, one thing I noticed when we were emceeing together, so we emceed Curtis's wedding in Mexico, is I went over with you that one day, and we were sitting there writing. What I felt like you did a lot of, again, this is the base of it all, is we would write something out, and it'd be so dumb. It'd be I don't know, bottle caps, the fruit of the ocean, and that's so dumb.
You're
But
right.
At least it's
That was really
yeah,
dumb.
no, yeah. But
Did
then
he say that?
no, I'm just saying but then it's there, and then you we would pick apart whatever it was, and you'd keep reworking it over and over until it made sense. And
Well,
then
it's
all
it's kind of comedy is yes and. So it's yes, and why don't we try this? Right? So I always hear that when I listen to comedy podcasts and stuff, that yes and is the thing. You always say yes and let's do this or let's try this. And then you workshop things together. That's why so many big comedians will do sets in small settings to test out jokes.
Right.
And then when they do their specials, that's all the testing and theory crafting they've done, that's where it goes into it.
Yeah,
Nikki Glaser before the Tom Brady roast, she was just going to the Comedy Factory and doing all of her Tom Brady jokes. Ola was there because she was on
No
a trip,
way.
and she heard. Then when we watched the roast on Netflix, she's like, "Oh, I've heard all these jokes."
That's
Oh,
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just gonna say it's a lot of trial and error, right? I've seen comedians, I've been to a few comedy clubs, and I've seen these amateur comedians, they come out with a notepad, and if they get a laugh, they're cool, tick.
Yeah.
And if it's dead, are they like, okay, cross that one out, that's not hitting. Like,
There's
yeah,
literally a
like,
comedian
too.
that has gone up on stage and like their bit, I can't remember his name, but he's come up on stage and he like brings out a notepad. It's like, all right, I'm gonna read you my jokes.
Yeah.
Would
like,
you guys
a way
go
to
up
do it.
and do, if we found somewhere to do an amateur comedy hour, would you guys go up and do it?
I'm not funny enough.
I would 100% do it.
I'm not-
Even
I think
as a
I would
challenge.
do it. I would like to prepare though.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, well,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, let's say we found somewhere and we're like, yo, in March, we're all gonna go do some stand up on one night. So you have a long time.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
I would.
I don't know,
would do
dude.
it.
I don't think I can write well enough because I find I don't even think I'm particularly funny. I think I'm funny when I'm around funny people.
You
Sarah,
like feed off the energy.
yeah, I feed off the energy and I can like really riff. If someone starts something, I can riff and I can banter.
Right.
But like if I'm sitting there and being like, I have to be the funny guy, I'm like, it's just not in me, you know?
Right.
Well, sometimes like funny comes from such a natural place too, where like you're just doing it because it's what you feel like you should do. Sometimes you'll listen to podcasts like the Conan O'Brien, his podcast, where like I think he's a funny guy, and sometimes he has funny guests on, and there's not a laugh in the episode, and like because they're not really trying to be. I don't know. Like I guess it's not always. Like it's not always something that even if you're a funny person that you're always doing too.
Well, yeah, especially
True.
if you actually are a comedian, because it's like your work.
Yeah.
So like you probably, I would assume, at least, maybe this is wrong, but I would assume like you have the ability to switch it off because it's your job. So like you're doing it so much so that maybe sometimes you don't want to make a joke or something like that.
There is one guy I think that's always turned on, and I don't even think it's intentional. Theo Vaughn. I think that guy could just talk
man.
and just be funny.
Theo,
I feel like Bill Burr can be like
there's
that.
another
Oh,
one.
true,
Yeah.
true.
There's
Okay,
another one
okay,
I
fair.
forget. He's always
Fair.
on Joe Rogan. He's this one guy, and he's like, I can't remember his name now, but
Oh,
yeah.
Donald Trump.
No, Theo Vaughn, dude. Okay, I like when Theo Vaughn first got big, I didn't like him at all because I thought he was just a dumb hillbilly. That was on me, and I think to a degree, he is. But he's actually like such a sweet, like
He is,
thoughtful
man.
person.
That's like
He is.
Yeah, it's like a good like new WWE character, dumb hillbilly.
It's never been done before.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Otis.
So Jack, we're coming up on we're just under 2 hours here.
Oh,
Do you want to keep rolling? Like I've got nothing really, but I don't want to keep you too long if you gotta go.
Probably need to cut it pretty
yeah.
soon. Yeah,
That's
the
fine.
strip club closes pretty.
Is that what we're calling it?
I got a couple hours.
I was gonna suggest we finish off with a singular round of poetry from
Yes,
Neanderthals.
I thought I was
Just
thinking
'cause I
that and
saw it on the
forgot about
windowsill.
that. Yes, okay.
Have you guys?
No, Derek was telling us about it last
Okay.
week, though.
So this game, poetry for Neanderthals, we've done it on our pod before, and we've done a pod completely dedicated just to this game.
Just by yourselves?
Yes.
Losers.
He's really good at it.
So just for the listeners, Derek's pulled out a box that has a double-sided dildo on it.
No, you
We
don't
call
need.
it
You
the
don't need to
club.
blow up the club.
No, we
You
call
don't-
it the club.
We don't need the club. Okay, so basically, what this game is it's pop culture references, and you're given a card, and it's like charades, but you can only use one syllable words.
Sure,
to
it's the perfect
describe-
podcast medium.
No, but you can only use one syllable words to give your partner the hint of what's on your card. So
Okay.
you're saying it like a Neanderthal.
Oh,
like if
okay.
it's for example, if it's Titanic, you go
Derek, you
big,
right over
big
there.
ship sink in sea. You know, like you have to only
Single syllable?
single
But
syllable.
I don't think it should be teams. I think it should just be all of us guessing for the person that's going.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Big ship in sea.
Okay, so I just want to.
Yes, stuff like
I just
that.
want to start by saying I
Derek
can't
doesn't know
speak
syllables.
This way. Okay, I think should we give each person two and they have to,
Yes.
Derek's vernacular is too impressive. He just
Yeah.
It's the eloquency of his
guess-
speech.
Yeah.
Pick two, and it's up to you if you do right side, white side, or
I'm supposed to see
red
this?
side.
Just take two. Yeah.
Doesn't matter?
If you
I can see
don't
it.
know what's on your card, then you are allowed to switch.
Don't show us.
Cool.
Just don't.
so if I can't read or wite in English, you guys know that, right?
Hello.
Sprechen Sie German?
No.
Okay.
No.
We can do this.
Okay.
I'm on the clock. Neve, you keep a minute on there. Okay, here we go. Ice wall.
Game of Thrones.
Yes. Oh wow. That was really
Did I get it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
you
on
got it,
both
you got it.
sides here.
Yeah.
I'm not- oh, whoops.
Pick which side you want to do.
Oh, that
Whatever
would
you know better.
well, I've got
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Did I get that?
Yeah, you
Yes,
got that
you
right.
did.
No way. Okay.
Go.
I'm okay, I gotta get a new one because that one was too hard.
So do I go?
No,
I
it's
got
still
it.
Derek does both of his.
Space.
You can't just say
Space.
you can't just say one word.
Look up. Star.
Is it Star Wars?
Interstellar.
Star Trek?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, yeah,
okay.
both mine. That's it.
Okay,
That was
okay,
the best
okay,
I've ever
okay.
That's
done.
two
Okay.
done, yeah.
I've literally, I think 2 is my record ever.
So you win. So you get 2 points.
So I get 2 points. If we're just making everyone do it. If we were to play the game, we would like keep racking.
Cool,
it.
okay,
But this
okay,
is just a
okay.
fun
Yeah.
way to get out of the
Do
game.
do
Okay.
shots.
Okay, Jack.
do you want me to
do
go?
it.
Okay.
You can't say the words on the card either.
Oh, what if? Oh.
So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it's like
Okay.
Star Trek, you technically shouldn't have said star.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Sorry,
okay.
just called you out.
sorry.
You
Cheater.
explained.
Damn. Let's see.
You're a cheater.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought a way around this. Okay.
Okay.
Hit, sphere, over, net,
Football.
Bend it like
keep this
Beckham.
in. Hit sphere.
over, net.
Oh, netball. Oh, beach ball. What's the one? Volleyball.
Volleyball.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, this one might be tougher, but I'm gonna go for it. Bad movie
Movies too syllable.
in. Oh.
I
See,
know,
it's harder
so
than
hard.
you think
Okay.
it is.
Bad flick
Could have said film.
in
No, we're going flick.
film. Place. Right now.
It's filmed in Vancouver.
Oh, no, it's a what's out right now. It's a bad movie.
Joker 2.
Yes.
Yeah. That was great. Wow. That was good.
Okay.
job.
Well, those are tough.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, okay.
Yellow man.
Yellow is 2 syllables.
Okay.
It's so hard.
Good
Okay.
start. I did it too. to be
Okay.
fair.
Husband.
Yes.
Almost.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wife.
Okay.
Son.
Family?
Girl.
Modern
Guy,
Family.
Family Guy.
Modern Family?
Babe.
Married. All in the Family. I don't know. It's such a hard.
Show.
Family
Fox.
Rules.
American Dad.
Friends.
Cleveland Show.
No, it's not a cartoon.
Couch.
Simpsons.
Couch.
Simpsons.
Oh,
Okay.
it's not a cartoon. It's a cartoon.
That is hard.
That
It's
is
so
That
hard.
is really
Dude,
hard.
so Dax, what you did at the start, for I'd say a good 3 weeks, I've just been every time I'll be like,
He doesn't.
I'll be like,
He's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'll just literally look at the card. I'll be like, "Don't stop believing," and she's like, "You can't do that."
Okay. I think I got this one down. Okay.
Okay.
Film. Girl. Bow.
Orphan.
Porn.
Film.
Thinking
Girl.
about the strip club.
Bow.
The Shining.
Man.
It's kind of hard.
The Incredibles.
Dome.
Okay, well now it is porno. Porn's back on the table. Are we gonna name pornos? Backdoor Sluts 9.
Yeah.
Dirty Harry and the Boys.
Have you guys ever read the comments on porn? It gets crazy. That's a wormhole that's worth jumping down.
There's a subreddit. There's a subreddit I got my friend on called Pornhub Comments. It is genuinely one of the
It's just the
Best
things
things in
people
the world.
write when they're fapping. It's just it unlocks like like the part of the brain that's the humans can't unlock. That's when it's unlocked for when they're writing comments on
How are
porn.
you jerking off?
I wonder if you
type
can
in like a
tell.
story of any kind.
I wonder if you could tell which comments have been made prior to, during, and after fapping.
You probably can.
Yeah.
You know what? We should make an app that figures it out.
But there's already a
Triage the
subreddit.
comments.
The algorithm. We need the algorithm. Oh, okay. Sorry, what was your
some chick with a bow that's doing porn? I don't know.
Good, yeah, it was chick, bow, man.
Chick, bow, man.
Film. It was a film, I think.
Film.
Simpsons movie?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Oh gosh.
Oh, that's
Deary me.
I saw what it is now.
Yeah, I also saw.
I wouldn't have guessed.
See,
Really?
you were.
What was it?
I was
For the
picturing bow in the hair,
Hunger
and you
Games.
were saying
Oh
bow
my
was
god.
like.
Hunger Games is a
Yeah,
really tough one.
yeah. I was picturing bow and hair like a big.
Yeah,
Oh.
me too. That's why
I
I
thought
was
of-
like,
You know what you
shiny,
could have
like,
said
what
was
chicks and bows.
because is that Jennifer Lawrence in
Yeah.
this? You should have said tit because her tits are out in the new
Nude
movie.
leak.
That,
Wait, whoa, what?
Nude leak.
yeah,
Jennifer
nude,
Lawrence
nude
nudes
leak.
got
And
leaked.
oh,
The new Hunger Games,
I've been
she has
giving
her
a lot of
tits out?
tidbits today for
Wait,
googling.
what?
this.
Wait,
I
what?
would Google this. If
What
I were
movie
you.
is this?
I don't know what the movie's called, but she's full on nude. In
Is the
movie.
comedy one?
Yes.
Oh, okay, then I know this. I've seen this.
Whoa,
Been in
whoa,
the-
Okay,
whoa.
okay.
I
She's
think
got
we
some
have a new
flapjacks.
segment where we recommend. What you
Okay,
should Google.
this conversation's getting too
Wait, we
too
should Google.
emasculated.
That's a
Things-
great
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, we
Things
should,
you should
Things you
Google.
should
you should
Google.
Google.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I do my cards?
Yeah.
Or are we going to talk more about titties?
No, we can get in there.
Are your cards about titties?
No.
Okay, then we'll stop.
Bull,
Okay.
film, woman. Dome.
J-Law's
Okay, here's the
titties.
first one. Toys.
Toy Story.
Song from film.
Toy song from film.
Buzz. Sing.
You got a friend of me.
Yes.
Wow. How good was that?
Okay.
She's good at this.
Second one. Queen. Real life.
You.
Or
Sorry, did they?
song. By Queen.
Oh, Freddie Mercury. Did it.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why it took me so long.
Wait, that's a real life queen? Bohemian
No.
Rhapsody?
Well, no, she was
It's
doing.
by Queen. Is
yeah.
this the
Real
real
life.
life?
Oh,
Dude.
gotcha.
Yeah.
How good is hers? Like, she actually was able to be
Do you
She
guys?
went last, though.
Just
She
give
had
the
tons of
syllables.
time to
Do you guys?
yeah,
She
I could
well,
have that too.
yeah, she's definitely more intellectual than us. Do you guys want to sing the theme song for the show together as we end the show?
What's the theme
What's
song?
the theme song?
I think we all know it. I think we all just start singing at the same time.
Oh, okay, everyone sing it.
Okay, ready? This was
my
the Derek
God.
and Dax show.
And I know that I'll love you forever.
Okay, cut that. Put that at the beginning of every one of your shows. Absolute smash.
Tap, did you hear that? That goes at the start now.
Okay.
We recorded the podcast theme, and it was all natural. All right, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, Jack.
Love you.